Hellfire is that guy. He is that guy, right?
Yeah.
They have the drop maps. They've been landing here for ages. He's going to land, he's going to pick up the weapon before you, and he's going to take you out. So it will prevent teams from thinking, maybe we can contest Greasy Grove, because if you do, you will fight that team, and then definitely not a team you want to be trying to take a fight against.
Reason to sip those might have not been a 50-50 right off of spawn. Basically a 2v2 between two teams. It was a fight between two duos towards the mid game. And they lost in the last one against Trulex and Chicho. Absolutely taking over their entire space. Just looking at a board game, and they lost all their pieces. It was given completely to someone else. I've never seen them lose control completely. For Thomas and Tripper, and I haven't seen them enter an endgame without each other too. I think what Thomas is trying to do right now is maybe get Tripper's card. He had to run so far away. And this time he has it, looking for that reboot.
Well, yeah, I do wonder if he does have it, because he's right next to a reboot van. Like, he could reboot. You know, we talk about how you can stay in the zone for long. The big problem is he's aware of this, you know, the team sort of nearby. And so once he starts, I think, yeah, you can see he's worried that they will start to push him once he starts to reboot. But they do look like they are sort of moving away in the bottom right. If you're looking, right, you can see the arrows sort of every time they turn around. Maybe there's that bit of worry, but they are moving away. So he should be able to get a reboot off now. And this is a chance for them to get back in the game. That was Hydra and Belusi who was potentially getting on his back.
I wish it was any other duo at Command Cavern or in the area. Hydra and Belusi, they never forget. Relentless. No matter who affects them off of spawn, even if you shoot at their builds where they're trying to just go for that revive, they get angry. They never, ever lose track of where you are.
Yeah, and you can see, right, they obviously are a Campanita team, so wrapping all the way around the command side shows their intention when it comes to rotation. I'm sure they'll be looking for Surge as well. This fight here is one that we literally just talked about when it comes to Hellfire and Scram. Positioned towards the center of the zone, below on Surge, and now having to try fight off against Astro and Michael, the Brits, as they try and find any sort of damage that they can do towards them. They can't afford to be too passive here, otherwise the lobby will not be as kind to them as maybe Astro and Michael are.
They drove all the way here in a whiplash. This is not something that Astro and Michael, the Bugle teams, the North teams are going to be used to. This is an invasive species in the form of Hellfire and Scram. They're going to be forcing these fights as well. Crucial shot for Astro to hit is going to come across as a miss. Michael will probably take swing number 2. Let's see if he can go for green. Not going to be there possible just yet. Hellfire is insane for dropping down like that on a wall he doesn't control, but he's faster than Michael for now. Open walls on all sides. This duo does not care.
He was much faster than Michael, and you can see there, they isolated the 2v1. Astro just caught on an island all on his own, and that damage is huge for their chances. It seems like they're going to actually allow Michael to get the res maybe, but he doesn't want to. He wants to just get right back in there and start dealing blows himself. But Michael's a bit too slow there to support his teammate, and you can see the effects of it now. Astro went down. They will have a second chance at this, but after already being taken out, the confidence can't be too high.
I'm wondering why they gave him the full 10 as well. Scram now taken down from the third party. Hellfire on just wobbly feet for the moment. Needs to have a huge moment to swing in terms of a shot somewhere. Maybe just setting up a labyrinth for people to run through. Scram now in a panic. Does find the finish. Is going to get just attacked by Surge. Hellfire now going down. It's a panic on all sides. No shields to even be able to drink so far. Medmiss picked up. He has the heals, but what a disaster of a fight. Greasy Grove, we talked about the importance, the vehicle as well. Take all of that into a bundle, and that's still not enough for this team to do well in game 2.
The big attraction around Greasy Grove is the fact that they have that whiplash to go out and find better positions to deal with their surge, right? The whole point is that you can use that vehicle to get into positions quicker than anybody else and deal damage. They've not been able to do that. They've not been successful, and that might be a trend we see around them as well. A team that hasn't quite had surge figured out so far this season, and already in game 2 showing us why that is the case. Michael and Astro way above on surge, but what's that going to count for with Michael all alone with a team on his wall chasing him down? He'd much rather have Astro up by his side, I'm sure. But they did well to fend themselves off against those hungry players. It's always the Danes, right? Coming in at you. Whether it's Thomas and Trippin, Scram and Hellfire, or whoever else in this lobby, there's always an angry Danishman knocking at your wall. But they survive barely.
Adrenaline has to be pumping for him right now. Quad digits on Surge, above 1,000 for him. Vito and Aqua a little bit closer to that average, 3 to 400. And they've taken out a team and found another launch pad to roll in with.
Yeah, and towards here at North Sleepy, very, very close to Queasy and Hen territory. I'm sure we'll see them.
There they are.
Right there, right? Exactly, just below them.
Where's Queasy, though? I only see Hen.
Ooh,
We got to start being careful with this second game. We're so used to both of them, right? And we're so used to Hen going down first, as you mentioned. If anything goes wrong, Queasy not making it again.
This is really tough, man. Again, these are the reigning FNCS champions. They won the duo FNCS last season. It's been a much rockier road for them this time round. But again, 2 games in a row now where they are just splintered, not together as a duo, not together as a unit. Very worrying times if you're a Queasy and Hen fan.
I feel like I might just be dreaming for the moment. Tell me something, Levin, so I know I'm in reality. Only Levin 2K has told Shy a wager.
I can't. I don't know if this is reality. That's the problem.
You know what I mean? Like, this is
reality.
just so weird. It's like I've side graded what dimension I'm in, and watching some of these teams struggle the way they are. I think Malibuca also went down in the storm about a zone and a half ago. So with all the power they had off of spawn, with all the control, they even haven't made it towards this end game.
Yeah, there's a lot of teams who are just clearly struggling with some of these zones and the way the lobbies are playing out. Reason in the sit toss, one that many people expect to have struggles when it comes to have a launch pad, and they might have to be put to use here because you can see so many teams in this area. For them to run in now would be such a difficult rotation to make. So maybe they'll wait to see if somebody else uses a pad that they can recycle to get into that zone. But if not, they'll have to burn their own. And I can promise you it's much earlier than they would have wanted to, but that is the nature of this game, the nature of this lobby. All these teams struggling for Surge, a lot of them end up going towards that congested side where there are more players to deal some damage. And then you get zones like this where you just have all these players on this zone line, all watching each other, looking left and right. Who's gonna drop it first? Who's placing that pad?
We got 25 seconds to see. What about Fury? Once again, different flavor up inside this end game. Weren't really fully active in the first. Facing Chapix, this is about setting themselves apart from the rest of the lobby. A little bit of a catch-up to play. It's about 50 to 40 points. They're 20 behind that top 5. Artor falling in the feed, and now we'll see who they get to bar back and coming into the zone.
Yeah, Kefi and Melody now. Very awkward spot there for Kefi. Maybe not realizing he couldn't place the wall there, taking some extra damage when not needed. We saw how well they did in the previous game, but this time round, things are looking a lot more difficult for them up north towards Sleepy Sound. They'll be able to get their way into the safe zone, but I don't think they're very safe.
You talk about north or Sleepy Sound. Is there a north that even exists? I don't see anyone on that side of the map at all.
Yeah, everyone's sort of down. There's only a couple teams up towards that lighthouse side of things. Looks like 3 teams in a solo, you know. Like.
And if you don't have Surge at this point, look at Hen, 213. You're trapped in a place where there's only one team you can really fight. You have no options. And if it's a meal you don't like, you're gonna be forced to eat it. If you're allergic, which I think he is, a 1v2 against Bluesy and Hydro, it just might not be possible.
Look, I've said to everybody watching the broadcast, I've said to you, Shio, many times, I've seen Hen do things I didn't think were possible in Fortnite. He's that crazy of a player. But again, when you're in these kind of situations, we saw with Malibuca last game, as a solo with so much Surge to be done, is it feasible? Is it possible?
What?
Dealing damage here in this box. The SMG coming to good use, but eventually taken out there by Belusi.
It's a struggle all around. Hen missing a few shots as a solo on a 1v1. Belusi did not have Hydro in that instant. At the same time, up top, Genesis and Vortex, we see them play so passive every time they're near this 4th zone. They're taken out in their base. Look at that right side POV. Steady Cami, they're back to doing their own business. We'll go back to them in just a second. 91 above. Usually they're super fine. They're looking really good, but the rain's lethal up here. Somehow Genesis has gone down.
The silver lining for them is that where the position in the zone shouldn't be too difficult to get to the next one. But when you got Shizo knocking on your wall like this, it's never too easy. They do brilliantly though, using his own aggression against him, catching him out of rhythm. And so now Grows as a solo. He's coming back to the FNCS to do even more damage, looking to shake up more waves. Last season did incredibly well, this time with a different teammate. But in this game, in particular, playing as a solo,
Oh, no.
didn't clear his top. That's a silly mistake that you can't afford to be making now. Didn't clear his top, gets taken out as well. Vortex and Janice will jump on that and punish him for it.
They have to move so far, though, and that launch pad is completely blocked by their own builds. Just recently got knocked. There was no one near the lighthouse at all, and everyone now has to climb back, use so many builds, so much rotation, even use a teammate if you're Tayson. Chapix is gone.
Tayson as a solo, another game now.
How?
He goes into the end game as a solo. All of these mighty duos being tainted right now, forced apart. But Tayson with plenty of materials, sitting in an elevated position. The clutch is on for him, but he'd much rather have Chapix with him.
I think everyone in this entire lobby would much have different circumstances. Vino and Aqua, I think the only ones comfortable with full shield. Everyone's slightly affected on all sides. Vanya hiding down on the low ground. I thought Kepi get a few eliminations. That first place team still active inside this game, looking ready to go. Kiro going down. Somehow Janus and Vortex survived that monstrous rotation. Trulex and Chicho also looking for their chance to do whatever. It's a game of solos near second and first height, but they only have control for moments until we move.
You can see now all these players looking towards the bottom left of the screen. Is out of rhythm before they look to make their rotations. Tayson now looking around maybe to see if there is a pad he can use and dealing some really nice damage. He needs to
track if he wants to attack that duo. Belusi somehow still holding high ground up top. One of the duos who we thought was going to look so good in this game. Good on Surge, good on everything. Now just 31 above. Chicho left as a solo, moving through every single build. Going to be tough to break past this brick. He has to be forced to use that harpoon up inside a different box. A ramp in the
My bestie and your
plan, their whole strategy is off, right? Early in the week, playing in the Cash Cup, they had a torrid time, couldn't play well whatsoever, and Queasy put it down to not feeling too good, having an off day. But a couple days later, maybe that off day is an off week. Yeah, you're on my wavelength right now.
Yeah. Oh man, it's going to be tough for them to kind of bring it back. You look at Vettel and Lotex specifically too. I think this is one of the teams that might have been scared to maybe have a say, a flavor, a tune of their own inside the FNCS. I feel like they've been followers so far. In this last game, Levin, they were taken down. You were talking about Titans. They were taking down half of them. They're the reason it almost went down to solo. Steady and Cammy, I think, collat shot it at the same time, raining down more eliminations over and over all the way towards the 9th zone. They look so powerful. Maybe that is feeding their ego, these endgame elims towards contesting Hen and Queasy more off spawn.
Yeah, I think, you know, that is one of the biggest sort of quantities that even us as casters and analysts can't quantify, right? When you start hitting big shots in endgame, once you start feeling yourself, maybe you start getting devious ideas about how you go about the next couple of games. And for Vettel and Lotix, for sure that will be the case. Vettel, someone who has played in previous FNCS finals, always playing with players who seemingly are on the come-up in the Norwegian scene, not maybe playing with the Norwegian veterans, but seemingly finding a way to do well with some of them. Lotix now the newest in that bunch, in that party. And we'll see what they can cook up in the rest of these games. Slowest and Mappy, though, over at the log jam. And Mappy taking big damage.
That, you know, I don't think the 200 striker pumps exist, but that felt like one straight on the dome. Goomba stomped this man inside the box. Flowest now has to be able to keep up with Noah Riley. Going to be a tall ask, especially inside a fight that should be their home game, their arena, the long drawn out one inside the Storm. I feel like, though, when you add that Storm, when you add too much length, that's where the power, the big, just momentous swings in the fight from Noah Riley and Badil start to become too much to handle.
When we talk about fights in the Storm, right, we talk about it, there's literally a timer on your fight. You know, you have to close on the fight within a certain amount of time, and that added level of pressure, clearly something that they've not been able to handle.
Wow!
Say that. But in the final moment, they're Flowist with a big pump. I know, like we said, they ain't 200 anymore with a striker, but I'd bet you he would have come 200 right there. A huge shot to take Noah Riley out and a saving grace for their game.
But Logjam, slow on pushing out the lumber, pushing out the players towards the zone. I wonder if Mappy's going to be able to just bring it back. That specific duo needs so much going for them in organized structure. Scram and Hellfire as well right now. Sanctuary, they've driven this far. Reese, what do you have to say about this?
We've seen a bunch of fights going on so far down in the cavern, and one of the things that's always been in contention is who is going to be grabbing the vault. Well, it's not Aqua and Vino this game. Tripper and Thomas HD are actually set up with the 2 launch pads from here, but this team ends up rotating in to get the extra loot that's left over here. So both teams right now are looking absolutely set up.
That's always one of the biggest things we talk about, right? Of course, the vault is so powerful and you want to get there first so you can get the supply drops and get the launch pads. But if you can roll through afterwards, things ain't looking too bad. In terms of, like Reese is saying, who's going to get it game to game? Well, people don't actually realize, shout out to Kitch Analytics on this one, in terms of the spawns, it's basically 50-50 which side of Command Cavern Gunner the NPC lands at, right? So game to game, it could go to the hands of either team. One game, Vino and Aqua will land on their side and they'll be the ones that get it. Another game like this one, Trippin and Thomas will be the ones with that fortune. Of course, 12 games we have in total. We'll see whether it actually does come out 50-50. I doubt it, right? There is so much variance. But whoever gets that gunner spawn the most is going to be the team that walks away from the final most likely the happiest.
Ebb and flow of the cavern, and all the other team can do is follow up in the heels. I'm looking at something very specific. This is a Shio deep dive analytic, right? It has nothing to do with stats. Okay. Nothing to do with the players.
My favorite type of analytic.
My vibes, yeah. I just looked at Mr. Savage's name. Hold up, let's just watch Mappy and Flowis take men's out. Still in the zone, by the way. Shizo going down. We'll get back to the fields in a second. Him and Hen, specifically, right, have this bear in their gamer tags. Flowis, hold up, going down in 6 HP for Mappy. He's taking out goals. It's just his feet made of rocks and stone. They can't be moved.
We talked about how well he did last season playing with Clown. And he seems to be the same animal, but a very much different beast in this game. A 2v1 against 2 top players.
Oh,
but they just got caught sleeping. Look at the loadout. He doesn't even have much.
He has nothing.
Look what
he
he's
has
working
literally
with.
one mag of the shotgun and a gray pistol, and he drops down and makes it work. That is absolute desperation manifested and just idealized, just working for the man.
I love that energy. That is FNCS winner type energy he's rolling with.
I mean, to win an FNCS duos, you need a teammate though, and his was down, so halfway there, halfway there.
Very much, not just halfway, a very long way. We have so many games. We are just in game 3 of 12. But a team that has very much impressed so far, Aqua and Vino. Again, I hyped them up earlier because in many people's eyes, they are the de facto favorite team to win up the whole of the FNCS. But things are never as easy as they seem, and we're seeing that already here. The chug splashes will keep Vino in the game. But DKS and Bad Sniper hitting some big shots. Another team that hasn't had the hottest of starts over at Tilted Towers, but is considered a huge favorite by many as well.
I mean, they're cold inside the zone in this one too. Like, nothing in terms of utility on either player. Bat Sniper hasn't popped a single heal and is still running right now, so I assume DKS is about to pick him up and take him in. Med miss, and it just looks like shambles on this side for Vino and Aqua. They're about to run into what might be another player as well. Nah, just an AI possibly to get some loot from. No, it is the Siptos. It's hiding 1 point. They have so much control of this bottom side on both these games that just started up. And the third one, Reason down, the Siptos out of luck.
Yeah, the Siptos and Reason, a team that has all the firepower and name, but just haven't been able to exert that force on lobbies this season. Vino showing now why he maybe has been able to do so as he hunts down the Siptos. The Frenchman has no place to hide, no place to run, and the time not ticking in his favor. Had to hit a bigger shot than that. And even if you'd hit that shot, to get the finishing time for the Siphon was probably impossible. And so Vino and Aqua inevitably win the fight. But Queasy just went down in the feed.
Again?
I just caught
Again?
it. I almost missed it, Shayo. I almost missed it. I just caught it there. Queasy going down in the feed.
In a zone like this, I think you're gonna need people like Queasy to figure out how to actually traverse things. Let's Squeeze and Endelex with the earliest pad I've seen for a third zone. It's just, this is actually a chain pad. Zone's been moving for a little bit. They decided to get straight onto towards these islands, straight all the way towards what is called launch pad inside the map. Versace Malabuka struggling. So many teams I feel like have been in the zone for longer than they have been inside safety so far in this game.
Yeah, but for some of these teams, the zone is their safety. You can see Malabuka Mustache with all those white heals, the floppers free, chug splashes as well. Taking some zone damage will not scare them one bit.
They're going straight tropical paradise. Doesn't look like a vacation though. You talk about irregular zones, mountains, you know, sometimes rocky, having nothing but flat land. I feel like this is one of the most difficult ones. And for a team like Malabuka and Mustache, a team that likes staying on low grounds, looking for a lot of things to come to them, the pre-edit gods, you can't do that in the water.
Yeah, that's one of the biggest risks we could see with this zone. I think the big thing for them is that they're going to have to choose to play on higher elevations of mid-ground, use people's builds in their favor. But you always got to be careful, right, when you're on people's builds. Make sure you're coning your floors. You don't want to get chopped down. That's always a big risk. Clown and Ref's guard
Drowning.
Yeah, we're already seeing the battle in the water. It's so difficult. It's so awkward, so uncomfortable. Look how much space they have to work with. It's a rhetorical question. They ain't got much.
Ref's guard, please hit the edits, my friend. Needs to go up as soon as he comes up for the back. For there, though, so much pressure from all sides. Clown is down. Ref's guard will soon follow. And they're not even close to the next zone, taken out by Janice and Vortex.
Another instance where we see Janice and Vortex lurking, preying on these teams that are just in these awkward positions. They always seem to be postured right there. They're not the team that shambles. They're not the team in the super awkward position, but they're always just right there to capitalize when they need to.
They're the pinch of cinnamon in the mix, right? Doesn't really belong as the extra spice somehow just finds himself in every single recipe. And look at this one, watered down Levin. Everyone has to just move across one big island. Before that, Thomas HD and Tripper got to take a big dive.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how they actually go about this. Again, another situation where you start looking left and right, trying to game your opponents, see if they maybe have a launch pad. If not, you might have to use your own. And we know that they're a team that will have them in abundance, potentially. Vino picking up some eliminations in the feed from some different teams. Kiko going down. Ju as well, being taken out. And Abuka Mesash, though, looking in a much more comfortable position than what we saw before, but still having a distance to go to get to the zone.
Very important game for them. Remember, they're fighting off spawn every time. And what you saw from the qualifiers, the games they live, they have to get big points from.
So far, though, already some big points, right? They started this game in 10th place, already in 3rd due to some eliminations.
Look at this.
And waiting perfectly for the used pad. They're able to make their way in.
Danger from the left.
Wiggle their way around. And again, right, landing on an elevated position and making sure to break some builds. It's actually Aqua and Vino below them. And a 185 mustache! A monster. You need to be careful. The Vino's right behind you.
1 HP!
Comes through on 1 HP. He's going to have to chomp on them floppers as quickly as possible. He almost got ahead of himself there. He hit the 185 onto Aqua and he thought, I want to get in. That's the instinct from him. But Vino was thankfully waiting there, saving Aqua's life in that situation. But if they're hitting shots like that, Shayo, this is going to be a scary endgame for anybody who wants to be on the same layer as them.
A different tune of horror for the endgame as well. Imagine if it was Aqua controlling the skies. With that shot, they're going to be knives down for a little bit, ready to go maybe in the 7th or 8th zone.
And you can see Rabid Fanayan doing what many people will look to do, looking up above, lacking on the builds, but very much sharing the wealth is Fanayan as he drops them over. Their pathway to having a good game. Looks tough, looks stunted, and we're seeing a drop-down play here.
No way.
Art skill taken out. T-Chips now as a solo. We talked about how ruthless Vino can be, in a perfect display of that here.
The reason this is even possible, a lot of these teams congested into coming into this zone. So many launch pads used left, and we're not going to see that much flying happening inside this endgame. So many mats already built apart. The zone comes in the land where everyone's already congested. The box fighters, the Vinos, that's where they thrive. Aqua makes the call to drop down. He gets the pick. So important too, because he took that 185.
Yeah, the refresh at this stage in the game will be pivotal for their high ground takes, right? We saw in previous games how so many of the teams will take height, invest so much into it. They don't have anything left once they have it. Those guys, though, hopefully will be very, very resourceful. Malabuka and Masash, though, aren't necessarily a team that's going to be looking towards that, but still a team that has so much elimination potential.
They're watching just the pressure, the chaos of the lobby just come to them like a tsunami off the shores. Many teams just moving side by side. Nebs taken down in the title forces. He's not going to make it. A launch pad forced up by Tayson and Chapix. They start to move. Mustache finds one. Siren now down. Janice and Vortex starting to move in as well. Surge is not really something that they concern themselves with. It's just the position. And Zone is now clapping back as a third party of just maximum damage walls of proportions. They are down, could not make it in. Look at the status of this.
And that's exactly what happens, right? A max distance zone where you don't have a launch pad. All those teams on that side having to tarp their way in. They were at the very back and they weren't prepared. And so they go down. These are the moments that are just so pivotal in games. Can you make something happen? Can these guys make something happen? They pull zone and they posture towards height. Tayson looking up on the other side at Fury. Nah, you guys better not come anywhere near it.
I mean, they padded for this position specifically. They wanted to get here super fast, so I'm assuming they're not giving this up. They're holding 5th to the end. That's impossible.
It's very difficult, isn't it? You need a lot of materials and a lot of willpower to do so. Mustache.
They're still going.
Up elimination.
It's Michael, and he's slapped in the face. Oh my God, he's done. Malabuka down to just slivers of HP before the zone starts to move. What a best and good place to take this fight. It's where zone's actually pulling. Michael, the maximum defense man, he took down what, 2-3 duos pushing him? Got Astro back in the game. Mustache Malabuka taken down.
These guys are not the kind of team you want to run into.
Look at this.
At any point in the game. Zara going down. Will Darkies follow? It might just be the case. Chicho as a solo now. He has everything to do. We saw Trulex in this position. We need to see Chicho put on a big performance now.
Zara and Darkies, they're the pirate kings of these islands. They land here, they live here. They're taken apart. Look at high ground now. Aquavino, they're back. 185 what? Right, Malabuka who? They don't care. All the way up on height, launch pattern again. They're taking it over from Tayson and Chapix. They have an airdrop possibly as well coming down. But look at the bottom side of the zone. Look what's happening in the purple waves. It's Thomas HD, 20 HP. Gonna be tough for him to really get things out of proportions from here, but he has even more Chug Splashes to use. Lots of time to buy for the moment. Tripper and down. It's a solo clutch with multiple bodies of loot he gets to use.
How about solo clutch that we've seen him perform in before? So many players going down, and that alone is beneficial for Thomas as he stays in the game. So much placement being found. But on the mid-ground, Mustache and Malabuka, another elimination. Mustache now has 8. We all give Malabuka his flowers, but in these moments, Mustache really shines. He knows there's players there. He wants to hit the shot, so he's feeling confident. Malabuka maybe tempering him to focus on the zone as he protects his back. But this is already a brilliant game. 10 eliminations, and not many more can be done for the rest of the players on their layers.
They've sliced through so many different duels, but now they have the Kings of the Dojo, Tayson and Chat mixed up inside their lair. Thomas AC though, the lone Ronin, he gets chopped down, he's taken out.
And you can see Aqua and Vino doing this again on height. Will they be able to hold on to it this time? That was the biggest issue they had last time round. Mustache and Malabuka need to stay healthy if they want to continue to do well in this game. But that's exactly what they will do. A refresh probably going to be needed soon as Malabuka's down to just the wood. But you know Mustache will be right on it. Cammy and Seti though, thriving on the low ground. All these teams on their established layers on a crash course to colliding at some point.
Oh my goodness, Mustache and Malabuka. This time, it's Malabuka trying to catch up. You know, we've given Mustache's flowers this game. He's like, wait a minute, 11, I'm still in the conversation.
And they're going right at it. First place team now. They've taken that title from Aqua and Vino. Those guys above, though, they need to start doing damage. They need to start picking up eliminations if they want to hold on to that crown. But the win is so much more important for them. You can see the zone going above the water. We talked about how tough this will be for everybody in the lobby. And so Malabuka, choosing to go back up.
He just dropped down back up in the blink of a moment, an instant. If you missed it, it's done. If you missed Seti as well, I mean, he's kind of still alive, but it's all up to Cammy to take the game all the way home.
You can see Cammy in the backside of the zone. It's so awkward for him. He's trying to find any sort of ground to stand on. But once he does find that ground, he might end up running into Malabuka Mustache.
So many mats for this duel. They just need to stay well-tempered. Understand you're popping off. You have so many eliminations. 13 in the feed. Mustache can't be stopped. The topic's down.
We've not seen something like this from Mustache in a while. But when it comes through, it's so delightful. It is brilliant. We saw a big game last time round. He's trying to top it this time. They're both up now, looking to try win it all out in a 2v2 against Aqua and Vino. Two of the biggest names in this competition. Two favorites going at it. They've already clashed in this game, but will they be able to repeat? Mustache being slowed down, 5 HP. Malabuka now. Game, Shayo. What a game we've just seen there.
Half of the elims go to the command, the rest of the wins go towards the cavern. This is just too much to handle inside the end game. Vino started us off with some cool plays. Mustache and Malabuka though, 16 on the board. Who were the true winners of game number 3?
Who were the true winners? That is the biggest question. Of course, Aqua and Vino secured the victory out, and that's such a glorious feeling. But for Malabuka and Mustache down below, we literally just watched Vanyak and Kami have a game where we thought, okay, that's going to be the best game we see. We have 12 games, but that's probably going to be the best performance we see. No, Malabuka and Mustache, we talked about the pop-off potential from those guys on mid. Mustache, oh my, that was nasty from him, I'll be real. They don't get the victory out, of course. But again, who are the true winners in that situation?
I mean, who is this duel as well? They kind of morph, I think, in that endgame to be one person, one cohesive unit. In that final moment, drowning almost. Mustache or Malabuka, I just forget, finds 3. Shouldn't be possible.
It is actually unreal, the kind of things these guys can do. We're going to kick it to the desk. I'm sure they have all their thoughts about how that's all unfolded. Guys, break it all down.
You know, well, what more is there to say? We get this last game, game number 2, 15 eliminations. Just like Levin said, we're thinking, oh, Mac, it's not gonna get crazier. And then Mustache and Malabuka are like, did you say 15? I'll tell you, we're gonna one-up you right here. Now, yes, they did not get the victory out. Victory rounds are great, right? But that doesn't always mean you walk away the winner, the true winner of the game. I will say, though, Aqua and Vino, it kind of takes me back to like the World Cup qualifiers, right? Days of the World Cup. Oh, you look up, who's on high ground? Aqua. Aqua, come down, stop.
I know, it's crazy, right? We're used to seeing this so frequently right now. Him always up on high, and right now, like, they are popping off themselves. Let's be real.
Yeah, absolutely. We've seen them on high ground so often, and this time they're picking up more eliminations, though. They're doing it in a bit of a better fashion. They're able to pick up the refreshes, and of course, able to, you know, sort of have their say in the final stage of the end game as well. Of course, taking out Mustache and Malabuka right there. They were commanding on the high ground. They took it at a very good moment. We saw Tayson and Chapix up on high ground. And for a moment, I thought, okay, Tayson and Chapix, they're going to run the show here. They're going to close out the game with a nice high ground victory. But no, Aqua and Vino had other ideas.
Let's be real. there's one team we want to talk about, one team we want to focus on only right now. That's Malabuka and Merstash. Everyone gives the props to Malabuka.
They do.
Everyone always says Malabuka is the best player right now. Nobody, and I mean nobody, puts respect on my man Merstash like this. Merstash, however, is the player with the highest average eliminations per game. 2.43 is what he normally does. This play here was very interesting, however. Notice, they needed a refresh. So these guys nearly always go for a refresh around the 5th zone. They're 53 matches.
And they didn't stop there. They were clutching up. They were getting so many eliminations right in at the end game. And this is absolute textbook Malabuka and Merstash play, because we're seeing them go for free edits. We're seeing them go for hopping in boxes with SMGs. We're seeing the harpoon being used as well. And of course, this clutch from Merstash was unbelievable.
And honestly, one of the things I find the most interesting is, like, these guys are aggressive in a way that not a lot of other teams are, right? When you think about teams who are aggressive in endgame, you know, a lot of people think of kind of some of the French box fighting players, but these guys will just jump in your box. Like, you know, they're not going to create a steady low tarp on the bottom. As soon as they have, like, a little bit of low materials, they find a weakness in someone, they're pre-editing you, they're jumping straight in their box. They do not care at all.
So sick. Now, you're probably thinking to yourself, Zeke, what's going on? Why is the stage purple? Well, check this out. We're going to check in with these duos. We're going to see how Storm Surge is playing a factor. Because for a lot of these duos, in case you're new to Fortnite, like, what the heck, Storm Surge? These guys got you covered.
Yeah, of course. Storm Surge. If you don't deal enough damage, the lobby's going to deal damage back to you. That's like the most simple way to explain it to you. It happens 3 different times. 3rd zone, 5th zone, and then 7th zone, of course.
Yeah, so all it is just getting as much damage as you can, and if you're above the threshold of the damage of the rest of the lobby, then you will be able to get that. And of course, teams do it in different ways. You know, you can see teams that go for the more box fight, the more fighting style. We saw Merstash and Malabuka doing that. And of course, we see teams that are going for more tags throughout every single stage of the game, just trying to keep themselves above that threshold, which of course does change game in, game out, depending on how the rest of the lobby are doing. We're seeing Rabbit and Funyine right there, picking up eliminations just where it matters most and just getting them above the storms.
Yeah, they were like just on the boundary, right? They were just above it. You have to make a play at that moment because there were so many players still left alive over that. If you don't make the aggressive play, like, you're just going to be tagged by the whole lobby at this point. But we have some leaderboards up ahead, and we have some new leaders up in there too. Merstash and Malabuka with a massive 16 eliminations second, have flown up 9 places. You can see the change in placement up there. That is incredible.
I think it's terrifying at this stage of the competition when you start to see the duos break into that triple digits, right?
Yeah.
126 points, 123. That was just 3 games, Minnie.
We've had 3 games of action so far, and oh boy, has it not disappointed. Now, a team that we might have expected to do a little bit better in the first 2 games was, of course, Tayson and Chaffix. This game, we saw them do it a little bit better. We saw Tayson and Chaffix up on high ground. Of course, last time we saw Tayson on high on his own, but, you know, trying to clutch up as much as he can, getting eliminations after eliminations, and this is sort of the moment where we're seeing them picking up eliminations and then going up for that high ground. We can see them trying to take it off Fino and Aqua, but oh no, they were solidified up there. Tayson and Chaffix were not having it, but they played the mid-ground layers really, really well. And I think I saw, was it 14 places they gained in this game? So they're really getting into their own and really picking up eliminations, and that's what we know this team for.
Yeah, one of the things I really like about them is, like, they don't overcommit to height. Last season when it was Tayson and Thomas HD, we saw them play for height way too much. It's like any opportunity possible, it was like, hey, I'm going to go up and try to win the game. Now what we're seeing for them is, okay, if it doesn't work, we're going to drop down, we're going to play that mid-ground, we're going to do super okay. We're going to try to do whatever we can down there rather than just trying to, like, PG fight for height.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's the experience of that duo, of course. We know how experienced they are. They've been in these situations before. They know how the risks of high ground is. You know how when you go up for high ground, you're not guaranteed the victory because there are plenty of other high ground teams down below trying to do the same.
I love it, guys. The breakdown, absolutely next level. It's very reminiscent of the caliber of games we have right here. Top tier, which is things that I love to see. That was just 3 games. We have another 3 to go. That's right, find your seats on the battle bus. This is the next game.
To the thousands of people watching all around the world, wherever you are, I just want to let you know, you ain't seen nothing. You ain't seen nothing. 3 games we've had have been spectacular, but not only do we have 3 more, we also have the 6 tomorrow as well.
It's insane to me because these 3 games feel like 3 separate FNCSs in total. The amount of things that are happening between teams, the unexpectedness, the twists, the turns, the stories, the plot lines, love it. It's too much and we have to do it all again today.
Yeah, it's literally why we say this is the best time of the season to be a Fortnite fan. And not only that, we have all these players, right, who have such high expectations on themselves, so many people they want to impress, so many people they don't want to let down, and that can cause for some heartbreak, but it can also cause for some beautiful moments, and we're already seeing some of those in the games we've already seen today.
Yeah, fire ignited for some of these teammates who lose their duo mates going forward towards the very end of the game. The game starts now, though, right? We have to focus on some of those off-spawn engagements, some of the stories that leave tears for us before they even start.
And as we head into the game, who will be the teams to redeem themselves, or maybe to continue along their line of dominance? In the top right of your screen, you can see O'Reilly making his way into Logjam Lumberyard. Last time round, things didn't quite go the way they would have wanted to. They're sitting in 25th right now, and they'll want to push up much higher again. To remind you, this is a team who we were all expecting to be landing at Command Cavern, but once game one started, they decided, nope, we don't want any of that smoke with any of those guys. We're going to try it with Flois and Mappy. But Flois and Mappy have decided to leave. And they've come back to a place that they're very familiar with, Coney Crossroads.
And we were expecting this to happen maybe on day 2 from a different team. I think it was just Snazy and Podesai that might get invaded on, not someone escaping somewhere else and just trying to save their game on a POI they're familiar with.
Yeah, that's a big point actually you make, Shire, right? These kind of adjustments are things you see in day 2, right? Once everything's done and dusted on the first day, you go out and you decide, okay, maybe we have to move. But for these guys to do that in game 3, sorry, that shows them sort of mindset, right? They don't want to leave things to chance whatsoever. We're seeing Refsguard going down in that replay at the hands of Siren and Asvi. Big fights happening all over the map. Benji Fishy and the feed going down to Bad Snap. I'm sure there's a lot of people.
What season is it again?
There's a lot of seasons where you could tell me this is happening. Of course, last season, that was one of the biggest battles we had all around the map. This time round, though, it still seems like Bad Snap and DKS are getting the best of those guys to some degree. Flixie and Kiduo, a team who sat in first place after game 1, trying to regain that spot, but it's not going to be an easy path to doing so. Flixie goes down. Kiduo, what can he do? The boy in AOS up against Yandy and Joe has to hit a big shot. The drum shotgun isn't going to be enough, even if it will take Joe out. Once again, I feel like Yandy coming in as the insurance in that fight.
All about a slight distraction, that's all they need. Meanwhile, over here, looks like Snazy Podesai, excuse me, a little bit of a rude awakening for them overall. Mappy and Flois way back at home, and looks like they had House just looking that much more natural up here in the Crossroads. Looks like Snazy already down. Difficult to be able to play in this POI without a dual partner, without the possibilities of a pinch or an essence of troll. Podesai will be able to change a few layers, go left and right, but Mappy and Flois go left and right, but Mappy and Flois, they've had this fight, what?
Directly because of Flois and Mappy, right? Indirectly, Noah Riley and Vidil are the cause of this. Like, if those guys just stay at command, Flois and Mappy never have any issues at Logjam, and because they never have any issues at Logjam, they never decide to contest at Coney and take out Podesai and Snazy. So the knock-on effect of just one team's decision can go a long, long way sometimes in these games.
Choose a waterfall, choose a butterfly, whatever animal or thing you want to attack to the beginning, you can. For Scram and Hellfire, I don't know what animal you can attribute to that type of drop down. Reason and Deceptos, we were thinking they were the incarnate of fear in the lobby. They've been taking out almost every single early game.
Yeah, it's not been a great start to them, right? They've obviously had their struggles, but like you said, one of their biggest selling points as a team is that, you know, they aren't people you want to knock on their door, right? You don't want to mess with those guys more often than not, but they haven't been able to possess that level of power. Maybe they need to start getting some tips from these guys. Aqua and Vino, a very, very powerful duo in these games. Farming up, making sure to get them floors, one of the best sources of metal at the Command Cavern.
Think about it this way in terms of just like POIs, you know, making winners, game winners, or lobby leaders. You would never expect, like, you know, Retail Row or when it was a mall completely, to have 3 different teams be able to be inside the top 3 to make close towards the end game. You never expect, you know, Craggy Cliffs to be able to have and sustain two different duos or trios or teams rock in and have them fight all the way towards the end. This is so unique to this FNCS, and it's crazy that these teams are landing next to each other, taking shots, and then fighting as the final two duels left in the game.
But again, it just goes back to what the analysts were saying and what everyone basically has been saying this season. Command Cavern is such a strong POI, one of the strongest, if not the strongest, we've ever had in the game. It rivals the likes of the Stark Industries POI and all the other ones we've seen at times, right? You know, go back to Season X, right? Season 9, that version of Neo Tilted, right? It beats them all, right? It beats them all. And we're seeing the effects of that on the leaderboard. We got a little update, though, for Mini Miner on some of these teams.
Thank you, Levin. We're going to be highlighting Tayson and Chapix here. Now, they're picking up their Storm Surge early on. We just talked about Storm Surge, and another element that they can add to that arsenal is the use of the scanner, the recon scanners that are dotted in and around the Collider POI. Now, right now, they're in the center of zone, and that recon scanner allows them to scan all different players around them and then pick up easy Storm Surge tags, which they can use later on to not have to worry about it. So they're picking up the Storm Surge tags, they're using the scanner to get them and highlight all the players that are nearby.
Giving Tayson basically, you know, the equivalent of just an unfair advantage, you know, compared to everyone else. Add that to just his prowess. I mean, it's not fair.
Yeah, giving Tayson an opportunity to see things that a regular eye can't see is never going to be ideal for the opponents. Of course, there does need to be people there, right?
Yeah.
In terms of what he can and can't see. So we'll see if they are able to do their damage. They've done a brilliant job of that so far. Obviously, came into this game in fourth. And they've been very consistent. Stompy and Jew not being consistent whatsoever. Tipsy-turvsy, up and down. And Stompy just deciding, I'm going to get out there. I'm sorry, Jew, bro. I'm sorry, bro. But you're going to have to do that yourself. Big man, I'm out.
I mean, I like the vibes of them entering that fight. Looked like a Fortnite trailer for, like, the start of the chapter, sliding down a hill, shooting at builds, you know?
Yeah.
RPGs going across the screen as well.
Yeah.
And then suddenly, the fight just stops. And that's a very important one for these two specific teams who are going to be landing basically next to each other a lot. And they were 15th and 18th respectively. They're having a very similar day so far. Every time, like spinning tops in a bowl, they clash. Whichever one slows down a little bit more might just topple out completely and have the other one soaring towards the top 10.
Who would you put, you know?
My dosh on.
Yeah, who would you put your dosh on?
Personally, like on paper, it looks like, you know, Stompy and Jew should just rock things out. But after seeing multiple trailers, one of them being the one that Stompy and Jew were just a part of, that fight, kind of iffy. And then Eclipse and Noxies as well on Twitter. It might be towards them.
I think the big thing with Eclipse and Noxie, right, is that they are new players, and so the expectations for them are quite low for a lot of people. Mm-hmm. But sometimes that could be a good thing, you know? If they can come into this without the nerves and the pressure, then
yeah,
why not?
100%. I just saw something hilarious. I'm not sure if we can get that back on screen. The cam from Astro, the perspective.
Yeah.
He's permanently third party. His room is so bright.
Yeah.
I didn't even see him on screen. I thought that was just like a zone notification or like a stat flying coming in. This man is surrounded by holy lights.
Bro, who said we ain't got good weather in Manchester? Clearly, the sun is beaming out there. Shout out to my guy Astro. Hopefully we get to see some happy reactions from them from today's games. But yeah, like you said, man, he's just, you know, permanently flashbang dormant.
If he misses shots, we know what. Not his fault.
If we see Astro missing shots, you know exactly why. He can't see. That is the reason.
Oh, look at this. That has to be Scram and Hellfire. Interrupted by, I was about to say Janus and Vortex. Just Janus. Again. Why? Not how. Why now? Because this is game 4-11. This is a team that learns. Learns at least this specific portion. Maybe not Surge and the half-and-half issues, but why this early?
Are they a team that learns though? Look at the struggles they've had this season, Shire. Start off at Greasy Grove, can't hack it there. Move. Go to the Collider, can't hack it there. Move. Constantly going all around the map, trying to find somewhere they can call home. They even spent some time at Coney Crossroads, right? So they're a team that's been in disarray all season long. And that seems like it's going to continue for the rest of today in the meantime. But look, Thomas and Trippin. So I'm going to guess, based off of Thomas's inventory and the lack of a pad, that Gunner didn't spawn on their side, unless Trippin is just hogging all the launch pads.
Doubt.
Doubt.
But yeah, I mean, depending on how the game goes, we're what? Who was the other team? It was Aquavino who gets
Yeah.
even more. Why? We don't need need that.
It's Command
We watched
Cavern,
game
man.
3. We don't need that.
It's Command Cavern, bro. It's just Vino and Aqua, spoiler alert, we're probably going to see them on height this game.
Oh, for real?
It's interesting though, right? Because like, we're seeing with some of the other Command teams, they stick around in Command for quite a while. Thomas and Trippin's approach in these games so far is to get out as quick as you can. They just want to get out as quick as they can. I think that's the right decision for them when you look at some of the struggles they've had so far this season.
I think for Vidil and Noah O'Reilly, it was kind of similar in previous seasons. It's land and attack a side POI or something that's close to you.
Yeah.
What we've seen right now, Logjam Lumberyard, and how they've been just waiting up top in the north, going for these storm fights. It is not move, it's defend. It's wait for people to come in or attack people that land where you are.
The big problem for them, right, is that they're already a team that isn't known to have an established strategy when it comes to dealing with Surge and getting damage other than just fight.
No, it's pronounced Unga Bunga.
Unga Bunga, I think in the dialect
Yeah.
of my area, it's actually Ooga Booga.
Oh, okay, yeah. Oh, my goodness.
Yeah,
Definitely some boogeyman situations here for a second. Continue.
scary stuff.
Yeah.
Not for Vettel and Lotic, so
Why does Vidil actually just look like a horror movie villain right now in the attic?
lurking in the
Oh
shadows.
my goodness.
Vettel caught sleeping.
Cut scene. Next. You know that little thing, the checkered board?
Yeah.
And it snaps. We move on to the end of the movie where there's a huge hunt, a chase between our villains, the monsters, Vidil, Noah O'Reilly, and the main characters. Malibuka Mustache is going on here. I'm actually not worried. I'm actually not worried at all.
Yeah.
I should be, but this looks a lot easier than the end game they just played.
They might be the only team where you can see them both on like 5 HP and not have to be worried sometimes.
That's where the pinky goes up when you take a sip of tea, right? That's how they do it in your ends?
That's how they do it in my ends, yeah. That is how you do it. You stick your pinky out and you're taking a sip.
Yeah. Wow, that's how lethal Malibuka is.
He didn't have
He
to
stared
shoot.
at him, didn't shoot, and the man went down. Only Malibuka thinks.
Oh my god. That is
Truly.
hilarious.
I've never seen that before. He's scary.
That is absolutely hilarious. So for the people who maybe don't get the joke, he didn't actually just eliminate him by looking at him. Somebody else from afar did the finishing blow, but it did look as if he just looked at him and eliminated him.
He's a level 100 mob boss
On this,
with level 10 thugs around him.
he's upgraded, man. He's upgraded.
Oh my, Noah O'Reilly. So this fight is still going on. You know when you leave the blender on too long?
Yeah.
It's just going.
Yeah.
You get used to the sound. I actually don't know that. I don't know where I'm going with this.
Well,
but
I was gonna say, O'Reilly and Vidal, they look like level 15, Sicarios, right? They're level 15. They need to work their way up in the organization.
yeah.
In the meantime, T-Chips, another game where they're just fragmented as a duo. We saw Vino and Aqua were the ones to take them out last game. But this time, Scram and Hellfire will be the ones to do that damage. And finally, a game where they're looking comfortable on Surge as well. And a difference, a bit of an adaptation. In the previous games, we saw they were using that vehicle to play center zone and try to take positions there. This time, doing what we see some of the better teams doing, using the vehicle to get out to less congested sides of the zone, edge map, take isolated fights, similar to what we used to see Queasy and Hen do when they were those guys in the region. And maybe that will pay off for them.
Possibly. I think for this game specifically, they've barely even used the vehicle. Like, it was pushed forward from Greasy all the way to the bottom of Cavern, and then shot out by one of the teams up top.
Yeah.
They're doing better without the car. Why even use it? Because, as you said, maybe they're not familiar with playing that center zone. They've just been using cannons so far past that and staying on foot, and it's going much better for them.
Yeah, well, you can see now, right? They're trying to head, and they do get into zone successfully.
Unscathed.
Yeah, that's typically, right? That's always a risk in these sort of games, whether that be a rift play or a cannon play, any sort of play that leaves you isolated in the sky without the ability to protect yourself can always be dicey. Everybody in these lobbies, pinpoint precise shots. being hit.
Vino and Aqua, I'm seeing different trade jobs here right now on the server. They're obviously lumberjacks from Vino's POV.
Yeah.
There are multiple people, the train industry 11, right? Or the bridge ticket office industry.
Okay.
It's large right now.
Yeah.
There's big congestion for jobs. I think Thomas and Tripper are ahead of the class in it. But there's one bridge with 4 teams stuck. Only one team kind of get the job.
Well, look, sometimes you get the plain sight officers that catch you out by surprise. They're lurking within the midst of everybody. You think they want to you turn around and all of a sudden they're the ones on your back, and that seems to be the case for Seti and Cammy. Because they just are putting in so much damage on this side of the zone.
A quick stat up top as well. You can see how even if things are bad for them before, when things finally matter, when the days start to close in, it goes closer towards the finals, they perform. I'm personally not scared. First 2 games, always different. Always haha crazy. They're not involved in the circus show, that's fine. I'll watch them in those booths in the audience, giving reviews, having a good night still. Day 2, they should pop off.
It's interesting though, because if we are going, down a trip down memory lane, the common trope with Cammy and Seti in the past, obviously when they were playing with Teak and Trios, was that they're day 1 team, right? Their team at day 1, they're going to be most secure, they're going to be most solid. I don't think that's going to be the case in this tournament, and so we'll see whether or not that is something that plays into it, but maybe a new version of them as we've headed into Chapter 3, one that isn't going to be that kind of team. Aqua and Vino, though.
Whoa. Gotta build up, my friend. This is just tough. Top tier base with lots of shots. Vino taking a bit too many to the head. And now they're splintered and trying to move out. Vino ahead of Aqua, looking back. Aston gonna come through, and you look at the bridge, the big closure I was talking about. That's what Vino and Aqua are relying on. Lots of attention drawn towards the 5-6 teams that need to move below them. Check out that mini-map in just a second. You can see them right now. Hen Queasy. We got Flois Mappy there as well, and Dreda. I think Thomas and Tripper are somewhere close by. All of these teams kind of need to move, and as soon as the lobby gets distracted looking at them, there's gonna be a chance for Vino and Aqua to get in.
Yeah, I think the good thing for Vino and Aqua is that there was that opportunity of the timing, right, where everybody was going, so they've been able to make their way in now.
2 points for Hen and Queasy in game number 4. Listen, Levin, there is no VR qualifies you for first place.
Yeah.
You go on to the next stage. Consistency matters.
The big thing is that there are still plenty of games in theory, right?
Yeah.
I think typically you can't afford to have like 5 bad games, right? 4 is usually the cap, right?
Yeah.
3, you can usually you can have maybe 3 rough runs, one that's not too great, but maybe you picked up 1 or 2 points. Essentially, the point I'm getting at is these guys have to switch on that flip now.
I think the big thing too with that is that switch can then never be flipped off, right? Like, they have to be online for the rest of the day. Look at an awesome Pink. Allowed into one of these end games, one of these later zones. They do big damage, take a man down. That's Noah Riley and Vidil taken out by Pink and Anas.
Yeah, they made them look like quick, easy work. And like you said, their first bite at the apple, an opportunity to push themselves into this game, up the standings as well. They want to play high ground. There's a lot of teams who they're going to have to try and beat out for that. Of course, we've seen Vino and Aqua in so many of these games look to take height. And these guys are going to want to push their way into that fight. So we'll see whether or not those 2 heads will clash.
It'll be really interesting with the gust of the collider nearby as well. If it isn't able to work on these end games, lots of people having to move all the way over now towards the bottom side of this half and half. Last Sniper probably just going to be able to go on foot or look for the big grab. There it is, all the way up inside the sky. Free rotation for so many people. Now, this is the opposite of that water zone we saw. So many people used to, or just forced to use launch pads, half their builds. This time, so many builds available. Pad saved. What does that mean for height?
I think the big thing for height is that whoever's holding it in first move and has to stay alert. There's going to be so many people in the air. You have to hit some shots. You have to scare off the ones that are looking for it. It's typically the late padders, right? The ones that are highest in the sky. That will be your biggest threat.
Meanwhile, some of these people flying high, getting swatted down immediately. Chapix on air duty, and Aqua as well. We thought they were in trouble. He takes out one big flyer trying to walk in. Bad sniper going down.
Vino, picked up an elimination earlier as well, so they're definitely going to be looking much better and much healthier. Manabuka and Mustache though, they're looking healthy. A launch pad is something we've not seen them have in many of these games, and so we'll see how they put that to use. But Lucy though, it's not a great situation to be in when you're such low HP with a team like this, pressuring your wall, pressuring your box. They're not able to get the elimination. It will actually be some other players below that take it out. But Queasy and Hen now, another team who finally gets an opportunity as a duo to play in this game. Can they hold on to height? So many top height teams in this game.
The one time they make it, every top team from Cavern, every top team in EU that loves to overtake height is there, and it already starts. You have to give it up. There's no way you just try to hold on to high ground here, Hen. Queasy, save your materials. Look for the next portion of your game. They're staying up top inside this 5th zone, the 6th one actually now. Moving overall, they have that pad all the way at the top. Hen lands it, Queasy follows, they're looking good for now.
Yeah, the double dip will be huge. You can see Vino was in the sky as well. All of these guys now looking for their moment to take it. Cammy and Seti may be the ones out of place. They're not a height team, but in and around them, so many of the top height titans now. Queasy and Hen will look towards the front side of the zone. Aqua doing the same thing. They want to try build up and claim it, and they might have the opportunity if they can catch on. Aqua with a big shot, a max striker pump shot to take Hen out. But he needs to be careful because Queasy wants revenge. He builds up though, and these are the kind of moments, these are the kind of plays that can define a tournament. A big shot when needed to claim height for themselves.
To claim the lead as well, the cleanliness from Aqua, the pure focus, the dialed in type of form he's on right now. Perfect shot, max damage, perfect builds to take heights.
And so now Queasy as a solo. Last FNCS we saw Hen with some spectacular solo plays, but now it's time for Queasy to put on the mantle, and it's not going to be easy in the backside of the zone on high elevation, so he can stay alive, wait for people to go down. But he's still so many top names in this lobby.
He's pushing down to get a few Elans. What he doesn't know is his zone is pulling straight up a mountain, a bridge that he might not be able to climb. 4 mats. He has to stay elevated. It's so dangerous doing it as a solo. 150 damage, not enough for Queasy. Vino and Aqua, a chance to pinch the entire lobby down. Look at Jackson, Vico down below. They have no chance to move up. Queasy's made it onto the bridge, but it's costed him almost all of his materials. Has to utilize the mantling, maybe even get a mat or two off of that bridge. The metal, Cammy now going down, Savage, Yapko taken out. Chapman's Vino are just the only ones claiming lives inside the speed. Queasy somehow maximizing the placement. About to touch some grass as well. A big 150 on the Janus. Him and Vortex. This might be the fruit that he needs, but he can't pick it off the tree. Joe now up inside the zone, but this is just falling over to the feed. It's not going to Queasy. Nope, it is. He has the siphon. He has the power. He can move forward.
This is huge. That was an absolutely vital elimination. It was necessary. But Queasy needs to stay up now. Vino and Aqua getting challenged for height by Pinkin and Nash. They're working their way up. Hellfire now in zone, hitting big shots onto Marine. He doesn't care who it is. He just wants to hit the shots. He's going to be able to stay up now, but it's going to be so difficult. Thomason tripping on low ground.
No map.
Can they clear it out with no materials? Shots behind them. They need to stay up. They need to stay aware. Manabuka now playing as a solo. Can he hit anything huge? Can he stay in the game? Is it going to be another second place performance for him? Hiding in a bush, but eventually gets snuffed out, gets taken. Seti all alone as well. Cammy is not here. Can he hit a big shot? He's running low on materials. He can't afford to hold on. Now down to 0. Knows he needs to look to alert below him. It's Kinto and Nebs. Not an easy fight whatsoever.
Chapix, Vino, Aqua, Tayson. Those are the names that are just lighting up the feed in this endgame, but it's just one of the duos that's alive on height. It's Aqua and Vino in that first place, looking for the next shot. Anas with the mantle, the fake out, but he gets seen by the sky. Sunlight in his eyes, blind now on all sides. Anas taken down in the backside of the feed. Afterwards, we tune in with Nebs, Kinzel, armored walls beside them. This is them just putting everything down in terms of control. They drop Thomas in both layers and life. Afterwards, pick apart Trippin in an instant, and after that, Kinzel goes down to the storm. It's Vino and Aqua now. Another game. Do they just have EU in their grasp, or their palms that big and heavy to claim the lives of many top players? Absolutely. Another win for this dynamic duo.
A back-to-back victory royale from a former World Cup winner and a young rising star in Vino. A dynamic duo who has just been so impressive this season and are showing us now on the biggest stage when it matters the most why they are deemed one of the best duos in all of the world. 2 victory royales in a row now for them.
2 teams tied to a rocket in that game. Aquavino, Mustache Malibuca tied in the 7th zone. Only one rises to the moon, to the Stratosphere 11, and it's the ones with the back-to-back.
The age-old question, right? Mid, low, height. It's height right now. That's really showing what can be done. They're not even getting too aggressive, right? They're not overextending for eliminations. They're letting them come to it naturally. And we're seeing them reap the benefits of that. The fruits of their labor will show on the standings, I can promise you that.
Yeah, you talk about the fruits. That was a squeeze from Aqua and Vino. The juice that falls from that. I mean, Zeke, Reese, and Mini, they've got kind of the sauce of what's going down.
We're just trying to keep up with you, Shy Wager. That's all it is, brother. Just trying to keep up with you. My goodness. Aqua and Vino. If you're just tuning in, we just watched this duo win the last game, game number 3. Now they come back to win it again, Reese. What is happening? What am I watching, man?
It is a bad day to be a height team in EU because Aqua and Vino are dominant. They have always, and in particular Aqua Lesperia, has been known as the height guy. The last couple of seasons, it's not looked great. He's been shaky. He had a wrist injury. But now, like, he seems to be the best we have ever seen him. And of course, Vino, the new up-and-comer over the last kind of year, we would say. This could be the chance for these guys to get an FNCS title.
Yeah, it really could. I mean, this is almost at the moment a match made in heaven for them. You know, we know how good Aqua is on that high ground, getting the perfect timing on that retake. Of course, we talk about Vino, his mechanical ability, the ability to pick up eliminations where it matters most. And here is another example of that. Hen completely shut down with that purple striker pump, and those are exactly the eliminations that gets them set up for these end games. This is what puts them into the position in order for them to take height.
You know what's funny is they always take height at the same time as well.
They do.
It's like end of first moving, they just land on you. Doesn't matter, but it's so odd because it's kind of like a 50-50 play, right? For anyone else. But for these guys, it's a 100% win, it seems like at this moment. And no other team is able to do that. If you watch back through the semis, the teams who took height at this time of the game always lost, right? Because everyone was looking up. But when you're in a caliber, like a lobby with a caliber of players like this, like people are a little bit more timid. They're not going to be as aggressive on the high ground just for the victory royale. So guys like Aqua and Vino can take advantage of that. Take height, keep it, and absolutely dominate.
That's absolutely right. A lot of the teams will have one eye on the consistency. You know, they're thinking, okay, we're a height team. Maybe Hen and Queasy is another example of that. They're thinking, if we play low ground, if we play mid ground even, a little bit more consistently, that might result in some better results in the end of things. But if you are... If you're Aqua and Vino right now, if you're just winning every single game, you've got to give other people a chance.
No, dude, they're shaking these lobbies right now. And you know, too, everyone else is thinking, this is now 2. We cannot give them any more of this, okay? They're too free. We got to shut them down. They now overtake that number 1 spot, right? Now we see Mustache and Malibuca. We can't forget about this duo as well. They did drop that 16 elimination game right before this. This feels like a finals, right? These duos are saying, we have to bring everything. We have to set ourselves up for this first 6 games going into tomorrow.
One of the things I felt really interesting, after the first 2 matches, when we were looking at the leaderboards here, there's a lot more new teams. You know, there's a lot of teams, just like Carmi and Banyak were up there after popping up. Obviously, they still are right now. A bunch of more unknown teams. When you look at the top 5 right now, that is the best of the best in EU. Because you know what? A couple games, sure, those pop-offs are going to happen, but the best teams are going to be consistent through as many matches as possible. And this is the result of it in after game 4.
Yeah, you mentioned the top teams, but there's one missing. You might be noticing who's not there. It is Hen and Queasy. Now, we haven't really seen the best from them today so far, and that was almost personified in this last game. It wasn't quite there for them. We saw them take height really early on, and I think this is a sort of solid position for them because they were able to take height right as that first moving pop. They were able to use the collider rotations as well, which we'll talk about, but they were able to sort of solidify themselves in the high ground, but oh no, it was not going to be enough because when you're in a lobby with this many high ground teams that are this confident, you almost have to expect to get landed on.
Well, that's the thing. You do have to expect to land on it. In particular, like, I know the strategies of Vino and Aqua. I guarantee you that Queasy and Hen know the strategies. Yep. You saw right there that Hen was kind of building lackadaisically. He was kind of just chilled about it. He was just slowly ramping up a little bit. And you just saw right there, Aqua land right on him, hit the maximum damage, and that essentially was the catalyst for them to win the game there. And it's a bit of a shame to see him almost just throw the game away because they're mass. They had like 100 builds each, tons of ammo, everything to win that game set up, but with the best of the best in the lobby. can't always rely on that.
That's true, but I think Aqua and Vino would almost land on height nevertheless. You know, even if they don't pick up that elimination, they're still going to go for it. They're still going to be like a dog outside of the door. You know, you just want to get them out. You know, it's like Head and Queasy, they just want to get them gone. They're just too loud, you know, just sort of barking at the door. But we're going to talk about the rotations of that end game. We saw an interesting end game, an interesting final few zones where it was around the collider, and this is where Vino and Aqua were able to use rotations just like this one right here. It's sort of like a little bit of a launch pad type device, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a bit of a geyser underneath the map that would be moving around. Similarly, if you're in the collider now, obviously there's a huge slipstream that you can fly up with. So teams like Malibuca and Mustache set themselves up next to it. They waited. They understood that if they don't pull that 5th zone, right, it's going to be a far rotate for them. So knowing the natural mobility of the map is so useful because you can just then box up next to it, ensure that you can go. And again, in the collider, like everywhere there is natural mobilities. There's cannons, there's launch pads, there's of course that big slipstream in the middle to keep yourself moving as well. So great awareness from a lot of our top teams.
Yeah, and what it allows them to do, of course, it saves them that launch pad as well. We saw it from Mustache and Malibuca. They have the launch pad in their inventory, and because when you have those abilities to rotate without using the launch pad, they can just think, you know what, we'll save this for later on. We'll just keep it stashed away, and we'll use that for maybe a first, second, or third moving, because those are the times when those launch pads, they really elevate your team above all the other teams that don't have one.
You got to think also, they use that launch pad to kite first move and win the game.
They did.
There you go. Just by using a simple little geyser, that potentially could have won the match.
The little things, man. It's those little micro advantages that are going to help you and your duo pull ahead, right? Especially we're talking about $300,000 for coming in first place. You're looking for all these advantages. It is time, though. This is game number 5 of the EU FNCS. Let's get it.
Hey, little things, big players, big egos at Clash right now, Levin, and it's just the first day.
I'm so excited, right, by what I've just seen in the previous 5 games. We're seeing the elite of the elite team, showing us why they're considered the elite, right? Elite in all phases of the game. Early game, lockdown. Mid game, secure, intelligent, poised. End game, ruthless, aggressive, clinical.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
And we're going to continue to see that. It's why they've been so dominant, a lot of these teams throughout the season, right? The likes of the Aqua, the Vinos, tasting the champions we talk about, never being able to count those guys out. Malibuca, Mustache as well. Even Seti and Kami looking strong as well after game 1. We talked about it. So many of these teams needed time to get into their rhythm, and now that they've hit their stride, it's a long day for anybody else trying to rise in the standings, honestly.
Yeah. The top 5 looks like every Twitter predictions list I've seen this morning. Like it's all top names, and half of them are kind of overlapping, or not overlapping every game, right? It's a winner and then high elims. Right now, Aquavino, they're making that basically the same thing. They're the kings of EU before the day even ends.
And the big thing about it as we head into this 5th game is who can stop them? Who really is going to get in their way? What is the chink in their armor? There doesn't seem to be any.
At all. Usually, it's multiple height teams. You saw it in the qual for Aqua and Vino in specific. They would try to take fights for height when there's 3 different teams trying to do it as well. Some majorly inexperienced, giving them a long, long time on that fight. Everyone right now hyper-focused. Does that focus stay for the lobby on day number 2?
100%. Right?
No desperation for height.
I think the big thing, right, is that if Aqua's hitting shots like he was last game, you ain't even getting it, even if you want to. Right? And a team who clearly hasn't been able to get anything since that first game, Kiduo and Flixie, the off-spawn battle at sign-up station, going very much how it was predicted to go so far. Joe and Ziandi dominating, and that domination is leading them into a spot in that top 10.
Here is the main story. Mustache and Malibuca, I think one of the only people that can stop Vino and Aqua for the moment.
The big thing is that they're one of the few teams that could still have the potential to go down off spawn, right? We've seen them have some of these fights against Pink and Anas in previous games. Let's say that fight happens again this game. They go down. Vino and Aqua, they're just going to have another big game, increase the gap even more. And then we're really starting to talk about, are they going to hit the threshold, right?
Oh, yeah, stopping EU before it even ends.
EU before it even ends, right?
Yeah, if you guys are not familiar with that, there is a rule in the book. I think it's about, we'll double check. It's closer to the 400-point threshold overall, maybe 500.
At 475.
Yeah.
We'll check.
If a team hits that, the competition ends.
Yeah. And of course, in terms of victory Royale quota, right? I think they've reached that, right? In terms of maybe they need one more or something, which they're bound to get this game. Gunner spawned on their side of Command Cavern, which means that they will have access to the vault. So, really, just I don't want to be that guy, man. I really don't want to be that guy, but like, I don't see a world where they just don't have another game where they either look like they're gonna win will just have a really, really high elimination game.
A few more things rolling across the map, slowing down for some of these teams. Clown and Refsguard be high and mighty here, dropping away from, I believe they were closer to one of these stations. Oh no, they are still fighting that Arcadia type duo, and not seeing much here for now. A drawn out fight. They want to make the most out of their last 2 games.
You know, of course, Azzy and Siren aren't the most experienced players when it comes to FNCS. I believe this is their first FNCS final. And so very much an unknown quantity when it comes to a lot of the teams in this lobby. Refsguard, a very experienced player though, alongside Clown, who was very impressive last season. Maybe they can show us why.
Absolutely, they need to at this moment really take control. We're talking about, you know, what does a team have to do at the end of day 1? Get as many points on the board to start day 2 strong and have as many options as possible. 58, not enough for Refsguard and Clown. They want to get closer to that triple-digit mark, hopefully, if everything goes completely right for them towards the end of the day. Got to see if that is a possibility.
We are a couple minutes into this game. Only 2 teams have gone down. Everyone keeping their cards very close to their chest, bro.
There's nothing.
No one's going down right now. 48 teams still left in this one. The only teams that have gone down are, we saw, right, Flixie and Kiduo, and Blueback and Fury over at the Joneses. So we'll see, maybe Azvi and Siren will be the ones next to join that list of players, but very much a fight breaking out here. Clown needing the help of Refsguard. He's taking his sweet damn time to get to him. Finally does close that gap and deal some damage to push these 2 back.
He's not going to find much after that. They kind of run away and completely go into defensive armadillo mode. Not showing the underbelly, protruding the shell.
Can we just take a moment to appreciate Shy Wager, man? I can't believe what I just heard there, man. This guy really is the GOAT of right now. Awesome, bro.
Nah, man. I learned from you guys, you know? That's how it goes. Take a piece from everyone. Armadillo, though, might be an OG. You know?
Yeah, Armadillo is crazy, bro. A brilliant analogy in the circumstance, right? Really just going back to their shell. They were within 1 box of each other, hiding away. But eventually you do have to leave that shell at some point.
Hunter are still trying their best in this fight. This is very important for them just in terms of trying to come back once again in day number 2. A lot of the times, if there's not 12 games, just a 6-game format, irrelevant fight to watch. So we watch them come back right here, or possibly even go down. Third party, maybe even coming in. No, it's just a pinch from the side of Refsguard. They're going to look for a little bit. Meanwhile, Malibuca also fighting. Talk about a few teams all surviving. You mentioned a little bit backstage, Levin. We were all just chilling in the green room talking. What if every team played Surge perfectly? You know what I mean? Yeah. How would the game look? It would be so difficult. I feel like teams had an essence of that. There's no way we can all just get tags. We have to maybe even fight. So for Stash Malibuca, they strike at that, pick up a team before, you know, the crazy tags start.
Yeah, this is a team that usually is never really dealing with Surge problems just because of how much damage they do, how prominent they are in fights. But we got Reese with an update on a team that's very, very prominent in fights. So what you got for us, Reese?
Hello, thanks, gents. In 3rd place total, team did not really talk that much about the last few games, Tayson and Chapix. Notice the east to west bus path, getting some tags out of the sky right now. So that's going to set them up really, really well for the later game. And they also notice a little launch pad there on the floor too. So if these guys are below Surge, they've messed up.
Okay.
I associate intelligence in Fortnite to a couple players. When I think of the smartest players, the players who understand Fortnite the best, there are a couple names that come to mind. First name, Queasy.
Okay.
Second name,
yeah,
Tayson.
Why in that specific order? Why Queasy first?
Well, one, because I don't like Tayson. He's not my friend anymore.
Oh.
We used to be best buds, but we got a little beef going on.
Oh, okay.
But also because I really like the way Queasy thinks about the game, so. But even then, it's not even like a 1 and 2. It's like a 1A, 1B type.
1A, 1B, yeah.
It's a 1A, 1B type thing.
On the note for those 2 specific players, you give intelligence tools so early in the game. Meters filled up that they usually check in like the 3rd or 4th zone. Just completely won in the 1st. that is a dangerous combination for the game. Reese is setting them up to, you better make a big one out of this one, or you know, there's a problem.
And the thing is, right, like we said, they've almost just sort of lurked their way into the situation. We've not seen much of them, but they've been very prominent in these games, and that's the reason why they're able to secure their damage really well. They're finding really good positions. Again, we talked about how it has been an adjustment for them, landing mid-map, right? They're more comfortable playing edge, playing dead side of the zone when they can as well.
Do my eyes deceive me, or do I see 3 launch pads in Taste's inventory?
That says 3 launch pads.
3 launch pads.
Yep.
3 launch pads, 3rd place, 2 duos. Game 3 plus 2 is game 5. 11.
Wow.
It's happening.
You did the mathematics on that one.
I'm not even good at math, and I can make that one happen.
So what are you saying? Spoiler alert, Taste and Chaplix win?
The thing is, right, I just checked my newspaper of the future of Game 5.
Okay.
Aquavino's still alive right now.
Yep.
And that's a thing. And they had the gutter card. So,
Yeah.
5 launch pads versus 3.
The battle of the pads.
The language of the pads.
The language of
What does the linguistic 11 have to say? The LL about the launch pads this game. The triple L. L cubed.
To win FNCS, you must speak the language of the pad.
Okay.
You must have pad.
Yeah.
Pad is win.
Yeah.
Win is pad.
And they have 3 of them this game. Are hogging pads from what must be the rest of the lobby completely. Sue and Leon, bottom left side landers towards the turbines. Will fly in the zones, padless. Zest and Hookah, we were predicting to give Andalex a bad time, but haven't seen too many eliminations past what's happening in the 5th and 6th zones. Nothing too early from them so far.
Yeah, we
Zestin zoned in.
look. This is a team who we know to be very aggressive, right? In terms of Hookah and Zestin. They haven't quite been able to show us that sort of prowess so far in these games. But in any case, we do still have many opportunities for them to show that off. Same can be said about Jonesy and Andy. They've done a better job of that, right? Sitting in 8th place, winning their Osborne battles. But can we see a pop-off from them, right? Maybe can we see these guys be the ones to throw a wrench, just throw a spanner in the works when it comes to the battle for high ground? Wouldn't be surprised if that was the case. Of course, the Andy... This chap has some words for his former teammate who is in 3rd place. Maybe he can put a stop to them. Definitely the type of team that could do that. For Zara and Darkies, though, these chug splashes are a savior. I was about to say, where are they getting HP from? The chug splashes come through. And so that will be a saving grace, but they are close to zone, so I'm sure they'll be all right. Noxie and Eclipse, though, always somewhere about this area, looking to cause some problems for anybody who wants some smoke. But Zara and Darkies will take the fight to them and making it look easy. Noxie was a solo, Eclipse wasn't there to be found. And so 1 elimination now for Darkies and Zara. If you've been watching the previous FNCS weeks and you're wondering who Zara is, his name was Mr. Satan before, so if you're wondering, there's a little update for you, but they're looking good. Max materials, close to the zone. They've dealt some damage, might need a bit more as we move forward into the game, but not a bad platform to build off of.
Looking at the God team themselves, the Kings, we're working on a name. It'll come naturally towards this end game where they win another game, right? Yeah. See the stat on screen, 2 games and 6 different FNCS finals. I think I was there for the first one that this man started off on. What was it? It was Aqua, Stompy Chicken Aqua. That's what it was.
Just tell the story. I know you want to tell everyone the story.
No, man, I want to tell them the story.
Tell them the story.
Predictions are a hot thing right now. They're on our hearts, on our heads, right, between all of us.
Yeah.
I used to feel the pain of them firsthand. Predicted these guys way back in Season X when they were a team. First 3 games, poo-poo, right? After that, something happened, I don't know, between these 3 players. Maybe Aqua stepped up, and it was just banger after banger after banger. Final game, win, and taking the title too. You just have to love it.
Yeah, so since then, you've always been a big Aqua believer, and rightfully so, coming back into the fray. We obviously got to see a lot of these players at Media Day, Reese and I, and Aqua was one of the ones that I was really impressed with.
Really?
He just seemed to have a new sort of hunger, a new sort of fire and desire. And of course, I'm not trying to make make everything seem rosy for that duo, right? Anybody that's been following the story of Aqua and Vino this season knows it's a miracle they're still a duo. I've never seen a team argue so much mid-competition. I've never seen two players openly admit their distaste towards each other in big moments, but yet they've managed to stick together, and they might even win an FNCS because of it.
The trick to winning FNCS, mute your duo partner in quals.
Yeah.
And profit. Like,
literally.
Those are the steps.
And guys, Shio is not exaggerating either. There have been games where these guys have actually just muted each other mid-game.
And won. Like, literally got a VR. Think about that real quick. Imagine watching any other sport, right, and teammates don't talk to each other. There's never a pass. There's never anything. And they're winning games.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's crazy, crazy stuff.
On board right now, we see a bunch of teams that have had a few more rockier starts to the competition. Another game where Cammy and Seti are down on Surge, just barely. Cammy's AR does not work the same as Vino's. He takes one shot and only gets one tag, like the rest of us.
He is human.
He's trying to find a few more right now. This is prime time position for them. A few more zones than usual. They get to stay in this spot. Should be very familiar with the timings and the movements around Tilted. This is where they just get all their Surge all the time and then usually move out. They're still in the same base. Let's talk about Abuka. Look at just the difference in where they're coming from. 648 damage above.
These guys don't have Surge issues, man. They don't have Surge issues. I'm hoping that everyone else starts to have issues. Because I want these guys to win, because they are my prediction. And I'm a biased caster. Yep, call me out in the chat. I don't care.
He is. He's actually not even like lying about it. He's that is freaking out backstage about the placement. It's crazy.
Look, man. I need to look, Queasy and Hen are trying to keep a hold of their FNCS title. I'm trying to keep a hold of my FNCS prediction title.
Ah, yes.
That's what it's really, that's what's in it for me.
Many storylines. Seti.
Shots. 39 is not enough. Had potential for so much more. Malabuka picking up another elimination.
Clemberry on the right, he was a solo. He's surrounded by so many teams that are like 30th, 40th place, desperate, and probably need to edit on them. Mustache Malabuka playing defense, playing the 8th zone basically, getting practice before it starts.
We'll see if they can get their way into zone, right? Because they do have a bit of a distance compared to seemingly everyone else in the lobby. Tayson, Chapix.
3 packs! We mentioned it before, but like just looking at it again in the 3rd zone, when everything starts to get a little bit more condensed, you get to see the advantage they have. But think about it, who else has this advantage? People are going to be following exactly where Tayson and Chapix are going to go. We have Vadil and Noah Riley, who basically get free rotates as well.
And the thing is, they will still look to recycle pads when needed, right?
That's disgusting.
They will. They'll still look to recycle pads when needed. And they'll probably look to play for height this game using those pads. So they'll try and save them for, you know, 2nd, 3rd moving, if possible.
Oh no, Malabuka down in a very crucial game. 30 points, 35 points behind Vino and Aqua. This is the only team that can give them trouble, that can contest them on the leaderboards, and they cannot afford to be a game behind even. They're already a full game's worth of points away from holding that 1st place title. Mustache now way deep in the zone. This is a later one, so they're sticking for 5 every single second. He will pop that med miss, but that will just even out his HP. Maybe give him a little bit more as he starts to move. He's going to be running into 3 different teams on many different layers. He's next to those 3 pads though, so this might be the best position for him to be in. He basically has a dual partner beside him. He just needs to base up and then pray that Tayson and Chapix use those launch pads.
And Alonso just got used, right? And if he heard that, then maybe there's a chance for him. This is how Malabuka went down. Look, you can see they were trying to get in. I literally said it's going to be difficult. Opens the edit. As he opens it, players start taking shots at him. Really difficult stuff there, but they were one of the few teams that had a bit of a journey to get into zone. They waited too late after picking up the elimination on Clemberry, and it might have just cost them their chance, really. Of course, we are still just at game 5. There's a whole nother day, but if Vino and Aqua continue on this pace, they're going to be so hard to catch.
Uncharacteristic from Vino right there, only landing 1 shot out of the 4. Unfortunate for Seti and Cammy. How is it that when these guys use a cannon like this in this type of zone, no one shoots them? 39 HP and 10 HP. They're not shot a single time in the air. Both land, and the focus stops too. What?
Honestly, I would have been eliminated.
Where's the milk? I asked for milk at the start of the show to see invisible players, right? That's how you reveal the invisible ink. They have something.
They have
something. What is it?
Their outfits blend into the sky, so nobody can see them. No, maybe that's what's going on there. Look, very fortunate to still be in this game, of course, on such low HP. They are shambles. They're next to a team, though, in Activen, who are looking very, very strong. Clown and Ref Guard. We saw some of their struggles and trials and tribulations earlier on. They were able to pick up some eliminations onto Aspi and Siren, and now picking up some free loot here as well. They didn't put in the hard yards for this, but they'll happily profit from it.
Cammy now, crucial siphon onto T-Chips. Remember, they have no shield, and their damage is so low on Surge as well, so looks like Seti's game is going well so far. Talk about off spawn and look good for Clown and Rescar just for this game specifically. Rest of the day, shambles. This zone also shambles. Rescar has to be perfect, but doesn't have the life force to be able to stay in the game. He's out of materials. Oh, he's out of the magic. Clown, though, has a little bit of it. Still pushing forward, but can't do much right now.
He just hit a 175 shot, and he's 175 above. Literally was on that line of Surge. And so that shot will keep him in the game. But you can see what he's working with. It's not much when it comes to materials. If only maybe there was still 200 pump potential in this game, he would have had an elimination for himself, or at least a knock.
Okay, look at this. This is all purely done what looks like from maybe some loot that these guys might have got off of T-Chips. They've moved their base maybe slightly, had the harpoon from Cammy, picking up a few of the massive materials. Vino and Aqua's eyes will be on them as they move.
Yeah, but like you said, right, they have a distance to move. And so we'll see if they can make their way in. Going to use the river to go to the least congested side of the zone. A smart play from them as players are gliding in. Michael, though, has gone down. Astro having to be the carry in this team now. The sun's going down in Manchester a bit, so maybe some extra vision will be useful here for Astro.
Trying to find anything right now. Medmiss, the desperation here. He has to focus on just topping off with them shields. Will be shield crack again. People might be able to hear it. Nope. Storm Surge, luckily, at the last second, turns off. We're under 50 players. We'll still see it again in that 7th zone. Has to go down all the way to 30. 15 more have to fall. It's Hen and Queasy all the way on high ground.
We saw them try for it last game, but it was Aqua who hit a massive shot onto Queasy.
Big thing with them too, last game, so many people got to save their mats, use the collider, and be beneath them. This game, Aqua Vino have the entire key card to save the vault, and Tayson and Tapix have 3 pads. It's deja vu for Queasy and Hen. A game they have a chance for height, but they have trouble lurking down below. Look at the comeback from Seti and Cammy. Absolute shambles. A collective 40 HP to now big mats and big items.
I'm just looking forward towards this fight for height. Right, we know who the main players are going to be in that regard.
And Chapix and Tayson have a geyser to be able to recycle with as well. They have effectively 5 launch pads this game.
We're seeing now Queasy and Hen aware of the pads being used, looking to try and catch some people out. Mustache will be the one to be caught out. Nothing he can do as he tried to recycle a pad. Queasy and Hen will take him out. You can see the pre-top as well. They need to start getting ready. Hen running into trouble in the zone.
way.
No, he tried to recycle a pad, and it was the Sip Toss who was in his way. Hen gets taken out. Queasy again now in a cut situation.
This was supposed to be the game for Hen and Queasy to come back, to be able to just stay alive a little bit still. It's going to be that 8th zone where the problems start to begin. 1,000 damage above Surge almost. It was perfect for their run all the way till this point in the game, but the comeback story almost put on halt. Desperation for Queasy to keep his head above high water, but it's getting just shoved right back down. Height chop as well. Tayson and Tapix are here, all launch pads out of the inventory and their feet on the high ground.
We knew they would go for it, and this is exactly where they've wanted to be. They've done so well without even being able to play high. Will they be able to take advantage in this game? Aqua and Vino still kicking it though, and so that's going to be a threat to their height.
Vino takes a big shot towards the mid-ground. Silence for the rest of the lobby as they try to dictate where to go next. Foki climbing up against Jackson down on the low ground. Meanwhile, the bottom right, Seti Cammy, the comeback of just nations, great nations. This is just nuts from them. The times I've seen them just down so bad in the mid game and then coming back, triple digits, close towards now 4th, even 3rd place. They might be able to take over Mustache and Malabuka if they get close to 150.
Yeah, they're cerebral down on low. They're looking to get to the front side, claim it as much as possible, create space to get some eliminations. Vino picking up eliminations. Aqua isn't in the game. Floki was the one he took out. And so now he needs to stay up. He needs to make sure that he claims as many points as possible if he wants to maintain their lead. Vino now scurrying his way through the backside of the zone. He does have some materials though to keep himself in it. Needs to protect himself. The wood coming out will be an incentive for Trulets and Chicho to keep on applying pressure. Can he stay up though? Chicho actually goes down to Reason. He got caught sleeping. And so that space will allow Vino some time to stay up in the game.
Meanwhile, all of Rogan getting pinched to go up a hill, but it bounces back. Chulex, time to breathe. Reason, down for now. Looking to see exactly what he can do next. Cammy, in the business. Looking for the next shot. They have so much control of this low ground. Half these builds are almost all theirs. 8 teams, and they're one of them that are so comfortable.
All these teams, everything going down below, but you have to remember what's happening on height. Tayson and Chapix are just licking their lips, waiting for that opportunity for the final fight to seize the opportunity. Vino, still though, as a solo, making it so much more difficult for them to actually close the distance as in the placement points. They do have their eyes set on him though, and so we'll see if Chapix can hit the shots needed. But Tayson just using the burst assault rifle for the pressure, applying it as much as possible. Vino's done so brilliantly to stay up though, but 3 builds left. Eventually his time is gonna have to come, but will it come before all these other teams fight? He's hitting shots when needed, staying hidden, cloaked.
9th zone with 7 teams. The bounce backs back and forth are keeping these solos who have no builds absolutely alive. Reason now, down to low HP. Decepto's desperate, goes down. Kiko inside the storm is just a force to be reckoned with. He's taking so much HP away from these players. Reason forced to use a little bit of that med mist he was saving for the heal off. Meanwhile, Andretta not going to be able to survive the zone. Lots of mats and more mist to pick up for Reason at the back. Vino somehow still alive in the top 5, looking for the next shot. His final build dropped down. Vino's below. There's just one player to deal with. There's only one duo alive right now. That's high ground. Looking to see what they can do down below. Slapped in the face. Vino will not be here for the rest of the game. It's Chapix in the face of Ju. He blocks off one of the shots, takes the trade down to just a little bit of big HP and shield still left. Ju at 17 builds on the low ground. Reason is just playing his own game. So many misses available. He's going all the way around. It might surprise them towards the end. This should be Tayson and Chapix's game to hold, but Reason might have a surprise in just a second. Ju looking for the next shot. He's bolstered down. Reason in the back. He gets found out. Gonna be there with the harpoon. Gonna be there all the way towards the end is Ju in 2nd place, but it's gonna be a Titans he has to take down on height.
Tayson, Chapix, this is their moment. A redemption arc for them. Can they close it out though? Ju needs to try and spoil the party, and maybe he's doing just that, but no, they will close it out. Chapix and Tayson presenting themselves to the world now as the victory royale of the 5th game. Chapix from out the mud, out the gutter after last season's performance. Tayson as well, looking for redemption, looking to reclaim his GOAT status. And this is exactly how you do it. A victory royale in the penultimate game and a smooth sailing victory.
And it's action in the shadows for all these teams. There's only one team in that limelight. One team that the winners of Game 5, Chapix and Tayson, are trying to catch up to. That's Aqua and Vino, who with Vino in that clutch towards the end are still so mighty high in points.
Look, Vino in that moment wasn't flashy, right? Didn't pick up back-to-back eliminations, hitting pump shot after pump shot, but staying alive in that game made it so much more difficult for these guys to close that gap.
What he was spiritual. This man had no mats, solo, 11th type of team slash place, and gets what, 3 bounce backs?
Yeah.
Who did he pray to? Who is he talking to?
Clearly,
behind the scenes?
Lord Shiawage of his own, blessing him in those moments. But look, we still have to put our focus on that team. They've been so consistent today, not been able to really play height the way they wanted to. But when the opportunity came for them, they took it, and they took it so well. We're going to kick it to the analyst, right? Because Reese foresaw all of this happening earlier in the game.
First off, before we can get to you, Reese, you need to fix your problems with Tayson, okay? I know you guys are deep right now. Fix it, all right? This is put respect on Tayson's name. Reese, thoughts on this game?
I mean, amazing. Let's be real. When it comes to a finals performance, you can never, ever count out Tayson. You can never, ever count out Chapix. These two will always do it. I did see it early on, right? When I jumped in to interrupt our beautiful, handsome casters there. We obviously saw the fact that he got a pad early, he got tags early, but actually this is the winning moment right here. Notice Tayson lands with a pad at the front moving side and starts cranking up, and look who's at the back side of the zone. Right there, that's Chapix. That's a perfect way that you can end up taking height. One at the front, one at the back, pinch up onto high ground.
Absolutely perfectly executed. We talked about so many different ways of taking height. Of course, Vino and Aqua, they have a little bit of a different strategy. They just pad on whoever's on high ground. But Tayson and Chapix, that experience really showing through right there. They're able to take high ground from the front side and the back side of zone, really claiming all of that real estate that we can see in the end game. They're able to drop down, pick up eliminations as well. And I believe it was only a 4 elimination victory for them in the end. Not a massive victory, but a much needed victory for them, I think.
Absolutely. I mean, they were in third going into this, right? But it's like, this is a long one.
Yeah.
You've got one more day of games. You've still got another game today as well. It's about how many of these you can do super, super well and repeatedly. And a team that we saw, we've seen little bits of so far as Canyon say, right?
Yeah.
We've seen them do well in the leaderboards, but I feel like I haven't seen them do well, full stop.
Yeah, we haven't really seen too much of an absolutely outstanding performance from them, but I think what they've been able to do is they're able to pick up consistent placements, consistent refreshes when it matters most, and that is absolute textbook stuff from them. We often see them popping off in day one, which is not something that we haven't seen that so far, but of course there is still one more game to go. They're picking up eliminations. There's definitely another game for them to pop off, and I think this zone was definitely a little bit more favorable for them because it was right on their backyard.
Yeah, absolutely. And in all honesty, I think they clutch us up so much. Remember we saw them padding or using the cannon, that was in the mid-game there.
Yeah.
Flying up with almost no HP. Shio was absolutely blown away about the fact that they didn't get shot out of the sky. But then he managed to get refresh in 5th zone, and that's so critical. You're going to see so many
champions? We'll have to wait and see. Right now, though, you guys got to find yourself on the battle bus. Grab the popcorn for Game 6 of the EU FNCS Finals. Day number 1. Game 6 time.
Well, Zeke, at the pace we're on now, we'll be crowning you champions, it looks like. We've seen domination from the likes of Aqua, Vino, Tayson, Chapix, Malibuka, Mustache have impressed as well. And if these guys can close out the day with other strong games, there's no doubt in my mind that they're going to come back tomorrow looking to do more of the same.
Yeah, they're on an island of their own right now when it comes to points, when it comes to the top 3. If you want a ticket to that island, high cost level. Got to win a game, got to be double-digit elims, and one of these teams also has to go down.
Yeah, and we've seen from these games that's a very rare quantity. You can't rely on that happening. Ability to catch up is just so difficult, right? Even in that game, right, where Tayson and Chapix win, How do you catch up if the guy you're trying to catch is still just in the game, staying alive, even as a solo?
And it's Vino today. This guy specifically has not missed a single shot. Aqua has been more aggressive than we've ever seen before.
He's feeling it. He's back in that World Cup form. You know what I mean? There was a time when he was revered as like the best player in the game. And look, trying to get back into that shape.
Yeah, for the other people on the board, the 20th to 40th places for the rest of the lobby, a chance to change their destinies in this Game 6, to have one of the best comebacks possible for Day 2 and the 6 more games tomorrow.
Of course, right? We're all excited about some of the teams higher up in the leaderboard. But the potential for some of these teams lower down to surprise us in Day 2 and show us that intention in this final game is very, very high. A lot of teams that have pop-off potential of their own, but this is not good at all. And Nas taking out Malibuka early doors.
Looks like it's even before the landing happens, before the feet even touch the ground. All up to Bristash now, and he has been the star player as of recent for this duo when it comes to the aggression and the elims within this tournament, within the latter games, specifically I think 4 or 3. The 16 rocking in, he had about 12 of them. We'll see what he can do with this type of loadout. Every option available for him to push forward with. Risky to go down. Let's see if Malibuka got to even touch where he wanted to go. Has a sniper to rock in with. After that, burst AR, seen from the backside. Pink on his walls. Where does Anas kind of chomp from? The other way. Striker straight to the face.
You know, that's interesting, right? Because you saw where Malibuka went to land, right? He doesn't need to land on that side of top. He can just go to Blimp. They can play it safer, right? They're greeding for, what, an extra 2 henchman chests? Look, henchman chests are great. I don't mind a couple here and there. But with the loot they have on Blimp, the loot that's below the Blimp as well, if they just land Blimp, play it safe, we're talking about another game where they're upsetting the apple cart, pushing their way into contention with Aqua and Vino. Now, that journey just looks so much more difficult, and now we're even thinking about Tayson and Chapix really starting to separate from those guys as well.
So Game 6, though, that's where some of the changes happen in that 2-day format. And we've also seen, you know, issues off spawn for both Anas, Pink, and Mustache Malibuka specifically. Maybe one person gets taken out, they still all make the end game. I think 1 out of 5 games so far that's been a thing. Right now, Refsguard very frustrated with how his off-spawn story has been going. Actually diving, grabbing in, and proactively taking shots. Usually, it's a waiting game. You can see the distress on Asvi's face. Unfortunately, both him and Siren go down. Refsguard and Clown do not want to fool around anymore.
Yeah, closing this fight out much quicker than the previous games. We saw last game, this fight lasted a century. I actually grew up, graduated uni, had children, got married. My children graduated uni as well in the time it took for the fight to close out. This time though, making it quick, nice and easy.
How are the grandkids?
Well, on the way.
I was about to say, you're going to claim like one player, saying like, oh, he's playing right now.
Who's my son in this lobby? I think my son would be Pink.
Really?
Yeah, that's my son.
That's your son?
Yeah.
Would he be cool with you saying that too? Like you guys have that type of close relationship?
He's fuming if I said that. Yeah, I don't care.
Respectfully.
You know what? You know who else is my son?
Who?
Hen. Hen, that's my son as well.
Yeah.
They're all my sons. Tayson's my son as well, actually. They're all my sons, man. All of them, they're my sons.
Family reunion must be a lot of fun, you know?
Not really.
Thanksgiving? Not really.
Nah.
I mean, the interviews look good.
Oh, thank you. Can't wait to hop back in the lobby with all those guys. Yeah.
You wore the same shirt for the whole week, yeah?
For a whole month.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Just that shirt.
Look at this. Bodasai Snazy. I mean, they did not expect this once again on day 1. We talked about it a few games ago. They were expecting some sort of turbulence on the flight of finals for the last 6 games, but so far the cabin's been a little bit of a rocky ship, and this is the first time that an advantage, it seems like, off of spawn.
We talked about how much of a surprise it was for them. Many people expected Podesai and Snazy to be a huge contender to push into the top 5, maybe even win it all with some luck going their way, but that's not been the case. And with Flois and Mappy now giving them issues here, it looks further and further from being a possibility. Mustache, out of your screen.
About, oh, you know, man has 12 elims, 16 elims, now it's up to him again. That's how I remember, you know.
Okay.
It's the one-liners.
If not, somebody in Twitch chat will let you know. Probably.
I'll check the Reddit threads.
Yeah.
You know how it goes.
Someone will let you know.
Yeah.
Tasting though, picking up some eliminations. On
2 pads!
Yeah, look, you get 2 pads from the Kada, right?
But like, there's other teams there, man. What are they doing?
They just took out the other team. That is Vico and Jackson, you know. They just.
But it seems so easy. What is this?
It is easy for them. Look at this. Oh wow. Yeah.
This man is a shooter. Mega super nice IGL, fragger extraordinaire, and a gymnast apparently. A gymnast apparently.
Look,
circus freak. Like, what is this?
He made Vico look like easy work. But look, do not be fooled. Vico is a top up and coming German player, a great fighter, but against the mighty Tyson, everybody looks average at times, you know?
I mean, you got to be proud.
Yeah, look, I'm proud of my son. I am proud of him. And Zeke, we did fix our beef. We fixed our issues. So.
Don't even need to go into details.
Don't need, look, it was actually Mama Tyson. She sorted it all out. Made sure everything was good, you know?
Very nice. You see over here, Rabbit and Fnyayan specifically, right? I think their issues have just been with the vibe of EU overall. They picked the storyline, which is very tragic. The first game wonders. Really good. I think they had 70 points, 50, 60 points coming in, more than half. And now by game 6, in trouble, man.
Yeah, you can see they clearly want to get back involved in this fight towards the Joneses. We saw them here early in the day. They sort of eased off it a bit, but once they started to ease off, a bit less fortune. You can see how patient they are, lining up the head.
Come on.
Oh,
what?
I would have taken it there.
Do it.
Do it.
There's something they don't know.
Come on, do it. He's waiting to just line up like a triple headshot.
There's just no way.
He wants double headshot.
Nice. Triple.
I love it.
See, the thing is, Bubak healed up so much. I'm wondering if he just did it so much earlier. He might have the advantage, but Fnyayan's just rolling in. Clearly knows way more than we do. He is just making sure the pressure does not stop. Bubak now in trouble. The pinch is coming in from Rabbit as well, so far away. Make sure Fury gets locked down. It's all about interrupting. We've seen these plays with the zip lines before. He's just trudging like a tank, like an armored train, straight towards his enemy, but Fury stops him in his tracks.
I love the patience from them. And even then, after all that damage, they're not just pushing into it. They know Saban and Yapko are still there. They know there's 2 teams. And they can't afford to overextend. I'm loving it. Really nice work from them.
That patience. We would have messed that up completely.
Yeah, we would have shot instantly and just went down. 100%.
Oh, man. The way these players can also just end up staying together, too. It looks so basic in terms of plays that happen in the snap of a finger when both players are also just rolling around doing perfect pinches. It's very difficult to actually execute on the fly like that, especially at the Joneses.
Yeah, 100%. You have to have really great communication, something that those two clearly have had. Thomas and Triffin almost have become like the forgotten Cavan team with all the success we've seen from some of the others. They've slipped under the radar, but 7th place is not too shabby whatsoever, especially if there been another day. Mustache is doing a great job of trying to stay in the game, but there is still a team here.
It's Pinkin and us.
Yeah, they're not letting him breathe. Pinkin and us do often stay late anyway.
Yeah.
Right? So it's not surprising to see them deep here in the zone, but of course some added incentive with Mustache lurking around. They just scanned him. They know he's here. He can't get out. The armored wall will come.
It's on both sides.
He
has to be able to
through his own one.
Yeah, this is just the test of time, and they can hear him clanging on it. So 2 pickaxes versus 1,
yes. And
they're already on his walls. Nowhere to go. A flick from Pink, and he is gone.
That is so tough. They saw or they heard the armored wall, and from there it was wraps. We'll see what they can pull out here. Some interesting stuff in terms of how will they get to zone. It'll be fun to watch how they go about it.
Oh, wow.
Aqua and Vino were there as well.
Following them. They're just taking track of what's going on around the map. You can see the Elam happen to understand now the pace of the game. They're just checking the timer. Meanwhile, completely different form of what it looks like to be a Cavern team. Thomas and Tripper active, looking for a quick fight. You mentioned it, they like to move early.
We're seeing the benefits of that now all the way towards the south of Tilted. In a box fight that they are very comfortable in. Bad Sniper at DKS ain't been too hot.
This is where we saw Steady and Cammy before base up and look for a few surge shots. Wondering where they are in this game. Joins the Andy. I think one of the most impressive performances we're seeing so far today. The way they locked in their ticket to finals from the quals in that game 6. The way they're in top 5 right now as well. Fighting off Spawn over and over. Nice slide back shot straight into Mr. Bad Sniper. Thomas HD gets all that loot.
They've moved up into 6th place now. Slowly but surely working their way up. Again, this is a team who very much has a lot of the same power level, you'd say, maybe, as Aqua and Vino. They have the potential to be performing how they were. Like, in terms of, like, the way this lobby's playing out, if you swap them on the leaderboard, I'd believe it, you know? I'd be like,
really?
Oh, yeah, it makes sense, you know? Half the games, they get the vault loot, the other half,
the other
Vino,
yeah.
you know? It's like, you could see it going either way. I think this is probably the one season where Thomas isn't as much of a favorite as usual. Still is definitely considered by many a top team, a team that should get top 5, but not an all-out favorite for the overall win as he has been in previous seasons past.
You can see the comeback from Steady Cammy, saying they're, you know, kind of, what, a day 1 team overall? Like, in terms of previous FNCSs, that's where their power is?
Well, that's what it was always in
the past.
Right?
Yeah. So they're staying true to it. Might have missed a few games earlier on, but triple digits in the last 2 games almost, right? Like that is huge in terms of the comeback.
Yeah, they've caught up. And they haven't really missed a beat since doing so, right? Like you said earlier, the top 5 right now literally just looks like everybody's prediction list from Twitter this morning. So we'll see if it holds.
Oh, Aqua down to Noah Riley. Something we were expecting at the start of this day, just the beginning of these games. It's finally coming to fruition.
Vino as a solo now. Very, very early on.
Huh?
Yanis, how? Hello? Vino? Hello?
I say, so he missed the bullets. They wrapped around the entire Earth and hit Janice in his box somewhere.
I don't get this guy, man. Like, how is he? Like, how? He's not going to get the elimination, right? Because Vortex can just revive, and he already has, but... Okay. Damage is good for Surge, and he is playing as a solo now, so he'll need to do a lot more damage, twice as much. Assuming everybody shares the Surge load evenly, which isn't the case, we know, but... For the sake of story, we'll call it that way. Janice and Vortex making their way into zone now.
Looking good while doing it. They've attracted the attention of other teams that's actually inside zone. That'll be Benji and Savage they're kind of rattling towards, and being one of the noisiest teams, many different sight lines and POVs will be looking to damage them as they move in. They're looking aggressive for this fight though, so might be something they're lacking. It might be damage overall. It might just be some type of loop, but Benji and Savage have already moved so far away underneath Tayson and Chapix.
Yeah.
And Dreda as well, in terms of a base, is one of the high ones.
It'll be interesting to see, right? Because you saw they were there positioned near the collider. I know Reese had a conversation with Janice about what their strategies for moving around the map would be in terms of Surge. And Janice did say they'd often look to try and make use of that collider to see if they could get around the map. And so if they position near it, that would be nice. Oh my goodness.
Wow.
Tayson.
See, as good as that is, though, if Vito's in that position, he has an elimination.
Yeah, Vino would have got the knock there for sure, but he's getting the revive. Look.
Yeah.
He's revved, so...
Aqua's back, but every team will hear that, and I think they know exactly where Vino is for the moment. I know Janice and Vortex know specifically, and some other teams are already behind them in terms of positioning. They should hear that reboot van go off. It'll be very difficult for Aqua to find his way back into this game. If they somehow make top 5 in this game 11, I will be madly impressed.
I wouldn't even be surprised. I personally wouldn't be surprised. That is the caliber of team they are. That's how they've been playing today. It would not surprise me one bit if they were able to crawl their way back in this game. Cammy and Seti though.
Wow. What a wave. Just the angle to be able to take out those many builds, have that much more of an open sightline, to have the knowledge to do that. Just amazing from Seti and Cammy.
Very experienced players. Know what they're doing in these situations. Chicho and Trulex. Another team that's known what they've been doing. We've seen them deep in many of these games playing mid-ground. Last game really was their time to shine on mid-ground without Malibuka and Mustache there. And this game will very much be a similar sort of beat where they will have free reign over what happens on those layers. Don't have to worry about the pre-editing plays of Malibuka and Mustache. They maybe jump on that wave themselves.
Stakes for this game currently as we find our way going closer towards the later portions. It is the final game of day number 1 overall. The team in the lead, Vino and Aqua on your screen, ahead by what seems to be almost 50, 60 points overall. They're doing so good on the day so far. A lot of teams want them to go down before the top 25 so they can catch up. Their mission is to get close to that top 15, the top 10, but currently with Medkit small fries, they're wondering who should have more HP going in towards the end game. They're the final boss the lobby can't really seem to take down. This is the maximum limit of our top 10, Scram and Hellfire. Looking at their POV, everyone in the top 10 just wants to win more currently, be consistent. If you're top 10 right now, you want to be top 10 in this game and maintain where you are on the leaderboard. For everyone else, you want that big catch-up. You want the victory royale. If you're in the bottom 40, you want the best possible thing in terms of just points at this moment. You want to take the biggest risks. Meanwhile, the best teams in the lobby want to play reserve. So we should see some very opposite yin-yang action all the way towards the end. Desperation versus just patience.
And we're seeing a lot of that, right? A lot of those teams have been able to stay in this one. Joe and Ziandi here, positioned well, looking for the spray. And maybe we'll be able to connect. Joe sneaking some shots in there, and he's not done just yet. Looking for more. And running low on the ammo though, right? Doesn't have much in the reserve.
Doesn't have much for damage either. 152 below is what the update is for the moment, but every time I jump the gun on it,
I was gonna say, man, hold horses.
I was just making the call there. I was like, I know things now. Apparently, I'm still as dumb as I am before. It's not good.
I'm mad jaded when it comes to that stuff. I've done it many a time.
174, it's good. Jackson, it seems like he's had such a terrible day so far in terms of just being able to survive and thrive, but I think the reason I remember his name is because we see him in almost every single 8th zone level. He's living till the end of the game.
Jackson's done brilliantly here, right? We saw early in the game Tayson taking out Vico in a very flashy way, to say the least. But Jackson did well to stay alive as a solo. It's not often that you can get away in those situations.
Most impressive thing, as a solo, staying ahead of Surge. As a solo, having this much of a base and a lot of mats still left in the reservoir.
We'll see how far he can go, of course. It's never going to be easy. See Clement now and Floki making their way in. We've seen them struggle in some of these games, but coming up against Seti and Cammy doing big damage. Getting so close as well to actually taking them out. The sprays come through, they're dropping them down. They want to close it out, and they have. They picked Seti up. Cammy has to be a solo now. And a key, crucial couple of shots there from Floki and Clement, the Frenchies. And Cammy barely escaping as well.
That is just literally the perspective of desperation versus patience. Cammy Seti just want to move on, get along, get to the next position. They're not really looking at who's really around them. They're thinking about how to win and just be able to stay inside that top 5, top 10, be consistent in the game. Meanwhile, Floki, Clement, 72 points so far behind, looking to get the frags first, looking to get as many points on the board from the position that they can, take it step by step.
We're going to see a lot of these teams now starting to have their struggles. Zara won't be able to outhill Storm Surge for much longer.
Tayson taking out Aqua inside the feed, so he's really trying to
Peanut
grab
down as well.
towards the top. So they're frozen. I said they need to go down before top 25. They go down in 27th overall, it looks like. So a chance for these top 3 on their own islands to catch up. I think the goal is about 215 points that team needs to hit.
This is an opportunity for Tayson and Chapix to really put themselves in a good position going into tomorrow. Can they close that distance?
Pink and Anas are also all looking at. If we can get an update to see these top teams, how close are they for the moment? These guys are actually really close. Hellfire, Thomas HD. So there's a fight right now between the top 3, trying to claim who can be the king of VU before day 2. And then after that, a fight in that bottom 5 to all the way to 10th. It's a 10-point almost differential as to who can be inside the highest money so far going into day 2.
Yeah, you can see already the classic posturing towards height that we'll see in these games. Pink and Anas, well, just Pink there for the moment, right?
It's costly to take out Mustache and Malabuka off spawn. It leaves you possibly sometimes just as a solo. Here's Tayson and Chapix's POV, 171 points. They're about 40 behind so far.
They can very much recycle that pad. You can see running in, they have all the chug splashes in the world as well. So they can just use this and start to have some height dreams. Will anybody turn them into nightmares? You can see there is somebody vying for it. Tayson though, choosing now, it's not the time. But who is it? No O'Reilly, Vidil. Is this gonna be their typical one-game wondrous win? Will this be the time? They have height, and I don't think there's many other teams in this one that can really pose a threat to them, who will really look to try take it from now. So if they can hold on, Vidil has so many materials, it looks very, very possible, Shayo.
So high in the sky, and that low ground can only really get higher. So their perspective right now is just very, very powerful. Meanwhile, though, down at low ground, same story, different day. Thomas HD in the clutch seat.
Thomas tripping in the zone, in the back of the zone, not able to hit the shots. Thomas, he goes down. Cammy also just lurking, picks up Shizo as he runs his way into the zone. We saw how he went down, but he's able to stay in the game, and he's looking rather strong even for a solo.
They still move, Chapix and Tayson on second height. Chapix gets dropped, Tayson follows. They're actually just switching layers, going straight to low ground. What a call to make up in second place. They're just trying to do something very creative here and dodge all the pressure.
And you can see they've claimed the front side of the low ground. This is going to be such a great position for them to claim as many eliminations as humanly possible. As we see another fight for higher ground, we wondered whether Vidil and No Rider would hold on to it. Stompy and Jew look to try and test them, but a test that they pass, they hold on.
So high to grab, and it doesn't cost Vidil anything, barely even used any mats. That's the key so far. And Dreda as a solo down below. Top 12 right now. What does he want to do in terms of the end of day 1? Get more points. Is it possible? With no materials, with no chance, with no perspective. I want to wait, but it's a duo he has to fight. He goes down.
Crushed Andrea beneath the lobby. Chicho and Trulex. I said this was their chance to try and dominate in the mid-ground without Malabuka Mustache here. We're seeing Tayson and Chapix do a very similar thing. 4 eliminations thus far. Joe now is a solo. Doesn't have the firepower of Yandy with him, but has his own firepower. Hitting a huge shot onto Shreki. Can he hit more though? Needs to find some space, calm down a bit. And that breathing room will be just what he needs to get his HP back up.
Chapix now all the way down to maximum. Low is going to be the ultimate chance for him to gain some control, but Clown and Rustguard are there. They splinter the second team in half. Going to be unfortunate for them to keep moving. Just Tayson as a solo. Looks like Chapix might have had a lot of the mats, so he was desperate to get some more. He has to now do this with just 200 wood.
And at the same time, No Riley Vidil still applying all that pressure. Clown and Rustguard looking to try find their feet on the low ground. Rustguard running his way on in. Joe, he's just trying to stay inconspicuous. Doesn't want anybody to spot him out. Clown though has lost Rustguard. It's Stompy in the zone. They're going to clash heads. He needs to hit a big shot. The 70 isn't going to be enough, but Kefi will go down. Melody is going to follow soon as well. Low on the HP. The meat coming out, and he does claim the splashes. He does see it, but the refresh is coming in. The med mist as well. He has the tools to stay in the game if he needs to. And that's exactly what he has to do with low materials.
Tayson also, same situation, less splashes, more mist. He starts to move way in the backside of the zone. Vidil senses something wrong. He's looking back there for these teams, for these solos, just misting away inside the storm. Big shot from Tayson, narrowly misses Clown's head, going for the haircut, but doesn't find anything from the scout. Clown now looking back for the next shot. Tayson blocked off from all sides, looks for the prediction, but no, Clown goes down. No Cypher for him. Tayson is gone to the final 2v2. Marine, Rifler, Badil, Noah Riley, big shot from Badil. You talk about their crazy game. They're going maniacal with this one. Slide jump from Badil to close it out. Rifler goes down, and they make it look spectacular at the end of game 6.
Simply breathtaking from Noah Riley and Vidil. They're always good for one, Shayo. At some point, regardless of how the day is faring, they will always get their one victory royale and do it in spectacular fashion as well. A beautiful final shot here from Vidil onto Rifler, and a nice victory royale to really set the standards going into tomorrow.
Anger released, it feels like. All the qualms off Spawn from the start of the day, the issues with Surge even sometimes, they relieve it at the end of day 1.
A team that surprised us all by their choice of where to land today, but very much paying off finally by game 6, and we'll see whether they can hold on to that. But Shire, the things we saw from Tayson and Chapix, Tayson staying in the game as a solo, doing his best to try and catch Vino and Aqua. It's been a crazy 6 games, but I can't wait to close it out tomorrow.
Absolutely. So far, that was a catch-up game, a change-up game. Give it as many C names as you want. I want to see exactly what the desk has for this one. It's been a phenomenal day so far.
You're right, Shy Wager. That's 6 games. I feel like I blinked and they're just gone, but still incredible games to say the least. And I gotta say that the biggest factor, as they kind of mentioned, was Aqua falling down early, right? Our team in first place, coming in incredibly strong here, but they dropped so early that everyone else has that opportunity to catch up.
Yeah, we saw him actually get rebooted at one point, and then this is the second time we're going to see them go down. A rough rotate, trying to get to 5th. Like, because of the fact that they ended up rebooting, that loses you a ton of your heals, your time, your materials, all this kind of stuff, because you got to split it off to your duo, and then that leaves you in kind of a scuffed position. We saw they didn't have a launch pad there. Normally, these guys would be way more stacked to loot, be able to pad out.
Yeah, it really does. It sets you back in your game. You know, you're not able to pick up the tags, you're not able to pick up the loot that you've gained from getting those eliminations early on, and they were just sort of left behind, you know. They were behind in the meta, if you like, from everyone else. They were already sorted, they were already ahead inside the zone, and unfortunately for them, it didn't quite work out. But they've given themselves enough of a buffer so that tomorrow, they don't have to worry too much.
You also got to think, another top team who's in first, Mustache and Malaboka, I'm pretty sure they're still in first. They went down early there too. So the clutch from Tayson that we just saw is even more impressive now.
I love that you bring up Tayson, because we got to talk about him, right? Their performance in game number 6. Again, this is just to set us up for tomorrow, right? The last 6 games tomorrow, we'll see a winner. But talk to me about this right here.
I mean, realistically, we saw what I would say is a hilarious movement from Chapik, right? We saw him drop down to low ground. He was duck, dip, diving all the way around to try and avoid whatever shots. I'm not entirely sure actually how he managed to get down there, because we saw Tayson on quite a good mid-ground layer at that point. Regardless, whatever it was, that allowed Tayson then to set up the solo clutch, right? We've seen the top Titans, the top teams, everyone who was up there on the leaderboard drop out, and this was it. There's the
there
movement.
it is. Yep.
He was trying to get back with the splashes into zone to get them some more placement. But again, that set up Tayson there left as the solo to clutch up into, what was that, 3rd place?
Yeah, third place for Tayson right there. Of course, he had the splashes as well, as did Chapix. Of course, not quite able to use them in the right time, but Tayson was, and he was able to use them at the perfect moment just to get those extra few placements. He picked up a med mist right there at the end as well, so just able to squeeze a few extra points, a few extra placements out of that last game, and a really, really solid performance from them today, and definitely one that they can pick up with tomorrow and, you know, have a really good day.
Absolutely. Look, I'm looking forward to the next 6 games tomorrow. That's what's going to be really exciting.
Dude, think about it, a full data reset to go back and say, okay, what did we do differently? What can we bring coming into day number 2? I'm looking forward to it. We also got to talk about the game winners, though. Noah Riley and Vidil, now uncontested, finally able to say, look, we're going to take high ground. We want to win a game.
I mean, this is big for them, right? Because, I mean, as Shayo beautifully and poetically mentioned, they win a game every single finals, right? They're always there. They're always up in the name. I'm used to it being, you know, like a 10, 15 elimination. I think, to be honest, the last couple seasons, we haven't really seen that from them as much. I genuinely think these guys have actually struggled to frag out, which is surprising if you know anything about Noah and Vidil. These guys are 2 of the best fighters in the region, but I just think in FNCS they've not actually managed to pull it all together yet. But this game is a really good first step, because they were starting to trail behind, right? This is a team that should be in the top 10.
Yeah, it's absolutely right. They've always been a little bit more timid this season, and maybe previous seasons as well. They haven't quite been able to pop off as we would expect them to. But, you know, what I really like about these guys is they're able to turn it on when it matters most. When they're on that high ground, more often than not, they are more than capable of getting the victory royale. And as we've seen right there, a lot of the hype teams, a lot of the big teams were out, so the door was wide open for them to pop off.
Big old catch-up game, man. It's a very scary time. We don't want to find ourselves in that spot, but here we are. Let's take a look at the standings together. We'll talk through it with our casters, with all the friends here. Aqua and Vino right now leading the pack. Okay, I want to come to you first, Levin. How are we feeling about this? There is a lead there, but that fall early kind of just tripped them up a little bit.
I do think they have clearly shown why they're considered the biggest favorites coming into the competition.
Sure.
From a personal standpoint, Shio knows how much pain I've been feeling today. I don't want to just say this to say this, but right before the game started, right before the show started, I said to Shio, should I change my prediction to Vina Aqua? he was like, nah, stick with it. I was like, you know what?
Oh, come on.
I'll stick with it.
I said it's either follow your tactical mind, which was Mustache Malabuka, or your heart that was yearning for Vino Aqua. Clearly, man, you got some nice emotions.
Look, it is what it is. Look, I'm sticking with my boys, though. I've been impressed. We saw on the leaderboard, a lot of it literally just looks like everyone's prediction list. We've been saying it. Like, so many of the teams we expected to do well have been doing well.
That's right, coming in, man. It looks really good, especially going into day number 2. I got to say as well, I mean, Minnie, how are we feeling about this?
Well, surprised, actually. I'm talking about Joe and Zed Andy. I mean, I didn't really expect them to be this high up on the leaderboard. They're 4th right now, and it clearly shows how they're having a really, really solid time off spawn so far. Down at the sign-up station. This is, I think they call it Zed Andy Station, I think. I think that's the name.
I think he calls it.
He calls it that. Okay, maybe we should stop calling it collectively. I think it probably is. Yeah,
for sure. We'll take a look at our predictions. Remember, these are the teams we think could walk away tomorrow as FNCS champions. Hen and Queasy, they haven't been doing so well. They are your reigning FNCS champions, but I think, look, tomorrow they come back, maybe look better. Maybe there was just something off today. Maybe you have to go back, VOD review, come back stronger tomorrow.
Yeah. I mean, they just have to fix their rotations, you know, the way they play endgame, their drop spot, their
crosshair
placement, communications, their ability to pop off. Just a few things to fix.
Not a lot.
One or two.
Yeah. So now that we kind of have the standings ready for us, I just want to kind of go across the board here just super quickly. Tell me your expectations going into tomorrow.
Well, I'm talking about my own prediction, of course, Tayson and Chafix. I'm expecting them to do more of the same, you know, picking up on games where maybe some of the other top teams aren't quite doing as well, and maybe thinking like, okay, we can play consistent. We can also play high ground when it matters most and when we have the opportunity, but hopefully they will be consistent across the 6 games tomorrow, and that's my goal.
Look, 2 things are going to happen tomorrow. Someone's going to win, but it's going to be a shake-up. Top 3 teams already in there, but it's going to be a battle all the way down to that last game. You hear me? Last game it's going to go down to. And also, we've got someone in the top 5 right now that I think is going to just choke on day number 2. It happens every single time. I don't think it's going to be any exception.
Yeah, I mean, I'll keep it short and sweet. It'll be an island, like Reese said, for the top 3, battling it the whole day. I think Vino and Aqua might get stopped, though. People are going to start bothering what they do. Past that, one of the teams from the top 5 will take first, the most consistent one, Steady Cami. It's been said. I've watched this FNCS like last week. I don't think you guys have seen the futuristic VOD. So
what's actually going to happen? Don't listen to that waffler. 6 games tomorrow. 5 of them, Malabuka Mustache, 20 elimination victory out. I'm going home. Chef kiss.
Should I get my glasses for you? Because you're
the rose-colored glasses. You love to see it. Guys, thank you so much. Day number 1 was absolutely insane. But now we turn our attention to day number 2. Don't forget, come back tomorrow, same time. 6 games, 1 FNCS champion. Legends Landing, thanks for having us. We appreciate y'all. And as always, we'll see y'all on the Battle Bus.
even though I don't always have this great of an attitude, but you know, I'm working on it.
I feel like streaming is huge, and just like people like showing your personality.
There's just no feeling that comes close to that.
Just shower every day, just once a day. That's all it takes.
Like anything can happen, to be honest.
What is the optimal shower frequency for performance? It's crazy. That's a question.
I like to go at least once a day when I'm waking up, and yeah, just feel good and not dirty. Yeah.
I try to shower at night because like when I wake up and I shower, like it just makes my like hands feel weird, and I usually play bad.
I think it's once a day. It's really good.
I usually shower like once a day, usually right before I get on, so I'm refreshed.
Definitely once a day, minimum. I know there's some gamers that do not do that. I know that for a fact.
Is there any underrated duo that you think could have a breakout performance?
Glaze and Trashy are doing really good right now, and I feel like they're working hard and they're placing, and I think they could do good.
I think Dubs and Mega are going to have a very good season. I think people aren't thinking as highly of them.
Oh my god, me too. And Shadow 1X is going to do really good in this offense, yes.
Joji and Rokane, they're not really underrated, but I think for comp-wise, like they've been doing really good, and people kind of overlook them.
What's the most effective way to make a name for yourself in the community?
To be honest, just like do all your socials and just try to place as high as you can.
Probably just placing in cash cups mostly.
Like people really look out for like solo tournaments, especially for like looking for
the underdog. So if you're making a name for yourself, FNCS is the place to do that.
One of the best players in this story is really, really good.
Like everyone hypes me up and says like what I'm capable of, so it's honestly myself.
all like the Liquid people like Chap, Tom, Poach, like all of them, they're like super inspiring. Like you can do comp and keep content going as well.
Probably a tennis player like Roger Federer, who has like been on top for a long time and has a great attitude.
So back in the day, I was watching Apex, Temper, Fakey, and fast forward to today, I'm on their org, and that's the most ridiculous thing ever. It's amazing.
What's up, Fortnite fam? The new season means new loadouts for FNCS. Let's break down some of the most common loadouts based on your role in your duo, starting with the IGL.
The in-game leader, or IGL, is responsible for calling and mapping out your rotations, guiding your teammate, and often targeting. The IGL holds a vital role in guiding the team to victory. A proper loadout is a huge key to that success. This season, we have seen them focus on having one close-range weapon and one distance weapon to preserve. Loadout is the drum shotgun. Slots. This combo, however, doesn't cover everything. That's why you have a fragger on your team as well.
Fragger is responsible for getting equal tags and eliminations throughout your game. Now, loadout of the fragger is all about fighting and ending fights quickly. This is why we often see that the burst assault rifle is swapped out for the combat SMG. Meaning that in this role, you'll hold two weapons designed exclusively for close range engagements, while the rest of the slots are dedicated to heals. The fragger loadout often includes the striker pump shotgun, the combat SMG, and then a variation of heals. The ability to clean up fights quickly and effectively leads to this loadout being a top pick among the more aggressive players. After hearing the different loadouts and roles, which ones are you choosing in your next game? Until next time, we'll see you on the battle bus. Beep beep.
Welcome to the FNCS NA East Chapter 3 Season 2 Finals. Thousands of duos started out to claim the axe of champions. Only 50 now remain. This weekend, they will battle it out over 12 games to find the ultimate winners. Booga and Miro, back-to-back FNCS champions, will be defending their title against heavy hitters, Canada and Agers. Both duos are known for their strong performances in FNCS finals, so will definitely put on a good show. Underdogs Peterbot and Byla had a very dominant showing in Qualifier 1, which secured them instant qualification. You'll usually find them in a very strong spot at Collider, with 3 to 4 contested areas around them, making for some spicy Storm Surge plays. FNCS NA East Finals Day 1 starts now.
All right, Fortnite fans, this is it, the big one.
Bye.